This page is the vibrant cover of BeepMD magazine from January 1991. It features a fun, stylized character holding a large gun labeled Start 90, symbolizing the transition into the new year for the Mega Drive system. The main features are clearly highlighted. A special strategy guide appendix covering key games like Darius 2 and the fantastic Elemental Master. A look back at 1990 and forward to the coming year for the console, and a unique New Year talk show segment. The cover also teases a variety of exciting game coverage inside, including iconic titles like Shining in the Darkness, Midnight Resistance, and Hard Drivin', alongside Japanese exclusives such as Bahamut Senki, Musha Aleste, and Gainug. There's even a special half-year calendar included as an appendix. It's a packed issue, celebrating the console's past successes, and looking forward to what 1991 will bring. This page features the exciting Sega Big Bang campaign, highlighting the power of the 16-bit Mega Drive console itself, available for 21,000 yen. It then showcases a lineup of compelling games. You'll see the intense ninja action of Shadow Dancer, The Secret of Shinobi, where you team up with your loyal ninja dog to battle evil, already available. Featured upcoming titles include the unique tactical action game Gain Ground, challenging you to rescue hostages from a simulated combat zone, set for release on January 12th. Also presented is the top-down maze infiltration game Crackdown, where you use time bombs to blast through enemy fortresses, released on December 20th. Finally, there's a peek at the fast-paced platformer Magical Hat no Butobai Turbo, Daibuken, which recently launched on December 15th. The page serves as a vibrant promotion for the console and its strong lineup of diverse games heading into the new year. This page presents a festive Sega Big Bang campaign, beautifully decorated with a golden Christmas tree. Hanging from the branches are tags showcasing exciting Mega Drive games available for the holiday season. Featured titles include the action-packed Wonder Boy 2-1s, Monster Lair, the thrilling racer Super Monaco GP, and the classic ninja platformer Strider. Each game is highlighted with its price and release information. The campaign invites players to choose their favorite course and apply for a chance to win prizes. The prizes vary by course, featuring official Sega hardware like a power stick and a control pad, as well as a pass for the Sega game library. The campaign runs from December 1, 1990 to January 15, 1991, making it a great way to celebrate the holidays with Sega's fantastic lineup. This page presents a preview of the Sega Mega Drive game Zan Yasha Enmai, developed by Wolf Team. The page features the striking title graphic for the game, alongside two small screenshots showcasing the title screen and what appears to be a strategic map or character status display. The game is listed with a price of 8,500 yen, excluding tax, and is noted for its substantial 4 megabit cartridge size, including SRAM with battery backup for saving game progress. The release was anticipated for late February. The page incorporates the standard Mega Drive licensing text from Sega, and is visually dominated by a dramatic background image of intense flames. This page is an advertisement for Zan Gear on the Sega Game Gear, featuring screenshots, price, and release information for the title. This page features a promotion for the Sega Mega Drive game, Mahjong Dojo, set to release on December 14th, Friday. Developed by GameArts, this title is based on the popular manga series Gambler, Jiko Chushin Ha, by Masayuki Katayama. The game functions as a mahjong training tool, offering players the chance to tackle over 250 difficult questions, with guidance from 6 different in-game teachers, including characters like Doro-sensei and Mi-sensei, promising improvement in your mahjong skills. The game comes on a 4mm cartridge, and is priced at 6,800 yen before tax. The page features the series' distinctive cartoony art style, with various characters shown in excited poses, alongside screenshots demonstrating the tutorial and testing aspects, including questions and evaluation results. It's clearly aimed at fans of the manga and those looking to seriously improve their mahjong game. This page announces the release of the Sega Mega Drive title, School Drama Mahjong Class Competition. Developed by GameArts and based on Masayuki Katayama's popular manga, the game is now on sale. It features a compelling school drama story mode, composed of numerous visual scenes, where you play as a transfer student, navigating rivalries at Shien High School. The game also offers a free match mode, allowing you to challenge any of the 21 unique opponents, from beginners to experts, including formidable groups like Tenorins and the Kapagi Army. Notably, 8 characters are exclusive to this Mega Drive version. The page showcases the game's pixel art graphics through various character interactions and Mahjong gameplay screenshots, highlighting the game's diverse cast and modes. This page previews 2 upcoming titles. The top section features Gyars, a shocking 8-meter shooting game centered around the keyword WOES. WOES is described as an advanced AI support weapon, humanity's last hope against environmental destruction. Its key feature is the ability to dock with enemy units, analyze and learn their weapons, and transmit this data, allowing for weapon changes, level UPS, and multiple attacks. The game is set for release in late December 1990 for 8,400 yen. The page includes character art and a spaceship design. The bottom section highlights Jante Monogatari, Shinsen Senpu, Mahjong Detective Story, Fresh Whirlwind, a school mystery game unfolding with beautiful girls. The plot involves a detective investigating the disappearance of a beautiful young lady from Seikai River Academy, infiltrating a boys-only school, and solving the case by winning Mahjong matches. This title was co-developed by Telenet Japan and Atlas, both also credited with the previous page's Mahjong game. This page features the popular action game Valis 2i, making its highly anticipated debut on the Mega Drive. The prominent artwork showcases the game's heroine, Yuko Asou, armed and ready for battle, surrounded by various character sketches from the series, including different renditions of Yuko and other key figures. The accompanying text highlights the game's impressive visuals and sound, noting its reputation as a super popular title that achieved shock sales, selling out immediately upon release. The Mega Drive version comes on an 8 megabit cartridge, promising a rich variety of special attacks and immersive action scenes that players can fully enjoy. This release directly responds to the passionate wishes of Mega Drive users, marking the series' first appearance on the platform, developed by Telenet Japan. This page features Heavy Unit for the Sega Mega Drive, presented as a Mega Drive special. It sets a dramatic scene of a lone mech pilot fighting intelligent alien enemies on a colony planet abandoned by the Federation. The game is a side-scrolling shooter based on the arcade original by Kaneko, a well-regarded developer from the arcade scene. The Mega Drive version highlights enhanced features like improved enemy AI described as biomobile weapons, and detailed multi-layer scrolling graphics for increased immersion. It also includes unique password-activated modes, allowing players to record and replay gameplay to study attack patterns and aiming for perfect clears, alongside options to change the screen's color palette. Published by Toho, Heavy Unit was scheduled for release in late December at a price of 6,400 yen. This page announces the establishment of a new game software creator major within the Cyberbrain Creation Department at the Vantan Design Institute. The text emphasizes the critical need for skilled professionals in the computer and specifically the game industry, highlighting the program's aim to cultivate creative talent with both programming knowledge and essential skills like direction, music production, and character design. Information is provided regarding admission procedures, including application start dates and counseling sessions. Additionally, the page features an announcement that Vantan Design Institute has established a special award in the first Japan Game Software Contest, offering the winner a full scholarship to the new 2-year Game Creator Program, plus a cash prize, underscoring the Institute's connection to the industry and commitment to finding promising talent. This page is an exciting advertisement for the strategy game Ambition of Caesar on the Sega Mega Drive. The artwork immediately immerses you in the Roman era, featuring a large imperial standard with a naval scene and 2 Roman soldiers, likely Caesar himself, looking ready for conquest. The powerful phrase, "The die is cast," is prominently displayed in vertical text, perfectly capturing the game's theme of decisive action and historical strategy. It's billed as a real-time war simulation, boasting a substantial 8 megabits, which was quite significant at the time, suggesting a deep and grand scale to the gameplay. The text highlights that you step into the role of Julius Caesar himself, aiming to recreate his legendary, invincible tactics in locations like Crete and Alexandria. The small screenshots give a glimpse into the game's interface, showing both strategic map views and potentially tactical combat. Ambition of Caesar promises a new level of simulation experience, putting the weight of empire building on your shoulders. It was scheduled for release in January 1991, priced at 8,800 yen, and supports 1 player. This looks like a solid entry for fans of historical strategy games, looking to command legions on the Genesis/Mega Drive. This page features announcements for 2 notable arcade titles coming to the Sega Mega Drive, published by Micronet. First up is Junction, which is the Mega Drive port of Konami's popular arcade puzzle game, also known as Block Hole or Quarth. Developed by Micronet and licensed by Konami, it's described as a super action game evolution of the original concept. The page highlights its arcade popularity and calls it a masterpiece that's fun to watch, addictive to play. Priced at 6,000 yen, excluding tax, and supporting one player, it's listed as an action puzzle title. Screenshots show various elements, including a scenic lighthouse and a peculiar creature, alongside glimpses of the puzzle grid gameplay. It's announced as already on sale, part of the Mega Drive new lineup. This page also briefly announces that development has begun for the highly popular arcade vertical shooter, Raiden. Licensed by Seibu Kaihatsu, the legendary arcade hit is finally coming to the Mega Drive, promising its dominating arcade action. This page features the upcoming Sega Mega Drive port of the Kaneko arcade brawler, Ka-Ge-Ki, Fists of Justice. The striking image shows two young boys in a gritty urban environment, hinting at the game's street fighting theme, with a fallen motorcycle and graffiti-covered walls setting the scene. The prominent graphic title reads, Cage, referring to the game's full Japanese title, K-Ge-Ki. The text highlights that this popular arcade title is finally coming to the Mega Drive, promising intense action with a realistic feel enhanced by voice samples. It also mentions that the Mega Drive version will include new features not found in the arcade, such as jumping and new items, making the home port even more satisfying. Published by Kaneko as an original game port, Ka-Ge-Ki is announced as coming soon, with a suggested retail price of 7,700 yen. This looks set to bring some hard-hitting arcade action, with exclusive console additions to the Mega Drive. This page features a gritty, eye-catching promotional image for the Sega Mega Drive port of the arcade brawler, Ka-Ge-Ki, Fists of Justice. Against a backdrop of a graffiti-covered brick wall and a rusty door, three young individuals pose around a sports motorcycle, emphasizing the game's urban, street-fighting theme. The large yellow graphic kit points directly to the game's title, continuing the tease from the previous page. Bold red text declares, "Ah! What is this?" while accompanying text proclaims, "Ha! Ha! OU, OU, OU. We'll beat down and smash any guy who resists. We are the strongest Bosozoku, biker gang, Megadora Kageki army." This serves as an aggressive, boastful statement highlighting the game's intense action and street gang style. Developed by Hot B, this visual clearly aims to convey the raw, hard-hitting nature of Ka-Ge-Ki, coming soon to the Mega Drive. This page features a striking advertisement for the Sega Mega Drive port of the classic arcade shoot-'em-up, Kukyoku Tiger, known internationally as Twin Cobra. The artwork prominently displays a fierce tiger head looming over the scene, alongside a helicopter, representing the game's aerial combat theme. Vertical text declares this the Ultimate MD version, and the body text promotes it as the well-known ultimate shooting game. It promises to deliver the same excitement as the arcade version, letting players fully experience the thrill of weapon power-ups and the exhilarating feeling of shooting down swarms of enemies. This big-hit game is scheduled for release soon on the Mega Drive for 7,500 yen, excluding tax, published by Treco in 1990 under license from Sega. This page features a dynamic advertisement for the ASC2 Megapad, a third-party controller for the Sega Mega Drive, set to release on December 20th for 2,980 yen. The artwork features a striking illustration of a determined-looking man holding the controller. The ad highlights the Megapad's four key features: independent rapid-fire functions for the A, B, and C buttons, a slow-motion capability to help manage intense gameplay, a red monitor lamp that flashes in sync with rapid-fire speed, and an ergonomic design for comfortable play. The advertisement specifically calls out challenging games like Darius 2, mentioning the Bio-Strong boss and the goal of conquering all 28 zones, implying the Megapad's features are designed to give players an edge in such difficult titles. The ad text emphasizes that this controller is finally out from the familiar ASC2, encouraging players to pull out previously uncleared games and finally see their endings. This page features an exciting advertisement for the Sega Mega Drive port of Star Cruiser. This is a game I know well, originally a hit on Japanese computers, bringing its unique blend of 3D shooting and adventure gameplay to the Genesis. The ad showcases the polygonal graphics engine, highlighting its dynamic animation, a real technical feat for the time. The large 4 MB room cartridge allowed for impressive visuals and background music, Details the ad proudly points out. Screenshots illustrate the wireframe polygonal environments and combat sequences. The ad also mentions a convenient backup function, letting players save their progress mid-game. Presented with striking artwork of a futuristic spaceship and the taglines, "Beyond Time and Space, Now, Launch," it builds hype for the game's release. It announces a release date of December 21st and a price of 7,300 yen, excluding tax. The page includes the Young Messiah and NCS/RC Software logos. This page features an advertisement for the fantasy shoot 'em up, Wings of War, known as Ginug in Japan. The striking artwork dominates the page, depicting the game's protagonist, a muscular winged warrior, standing triumphant over grotesque, goblin-like creatures. The ad highlights the game's visuals and technical prowess on the Mega Drive, promising maximum utilization of the hardware. It boasts super-large character sprites that fill the screen, and impressive special effects like pseudo-rotation and multi-layer parallax scrolling. Players will command 8 types of offensive magic to blast through hordes of enemies in a world described as having fantastic and beautiful graphics, judging by the 2 small gameplay screenshots included at the top. It announces a release date of January 25, 1991, with a tentative price of 6,500 yen. The tagline on the right translates to, "Fear shines in the darkness," setting a moody fantasy tone for this horizontal shooter developed by Messiah NCS. This page highlights the dramatic action game, Devil Hunter Yoko, the 7th bell, for the Sega Mega Drive. Prominently featured is the protagonist, Yoko Mano, depicted as a 16-year-old high school girl who carries the destiny of a monster hunter. The text describes her as the sole hunter battling creatures that invade the human world. The game's story kicks off when messengers from the demon world arrive with the sound of a bell, signaling the start of Yoko's true fight. This 4-mega cartridge game, developed by NCS, was scheduled for release in late February 1991, with a suggested retail price of 6,500 yen. The page also notes that the Devil Hunter Yoko series is part of a media mix, with an original video animation currently being screened. This page announces the fantasy simulation game Langrisser, known internationally as Warsong, coming to the Sega Mega Drive. It is described as a grand epic, told through 20 continuous scenarios. The page highlights key features, like realistic animated battle scenes utilizing a commander rule for streamlined controls while maintaining strategic depth, and RPG elements such as level up, class changes, and magic attacks. The game also includes neutral, non-enemy characters that can influence the flow of battle. Character designs are credited to Satoshi Urushihara. The vertical text conveys a dramatic narrative theme about ambition leading to war, and a young prince taking up his sword to grasp tomorrow. The game is listed as a 4-megabit ROM with backup memory, and was scheduled for release in March 1991. It was developed by NCS/Messiah. There are no screenshots or character visuals on this page, focusing solely on the title logo and descriptive text. This page features an advertisement for the Sega Game Gear title, Headbuster, developed by NCS/Messiah. The game is set in the 21st century, where people are obsessed with fierce survival robot battles conducted in vast arenas spanning 100,000 square meters. The winner of these radio-controlled robot showdowns is granted immense wealth and fame, becoming a celebrity whose popularity rivals or surpasses 20th century professional sports like baseball, soccer, and Formula 1 Grand Prix. The visual shows one of the combat robots, a green mech with the number 25, and a large Gatling-like weapon, standing in a barren landscape. A glimpse of the Sega Game Gear console is also visible in the foreground. The ad confirms the game is exclusively for the Game Gear, and was published with permission from Sega. It was released or advertised around February 1991. This page presents an advertisement for the Sega Game Gear title, Headbuster, a real fighting simulation. It poses the question, what is real fighting simulation? And immediately answers it by highlighting immersive visuals and powerful stereo sound made possible by the Game Gear's color portable screen. This is a thrilling, full-scale battle simulation aimed at gamers who are seeking something beyond conventional simulation games, described as a one-shot soul project. The ad features artwork of a green combat robot and a partial view of the Game Gear console itself, reinforcing that this is a portable robot battle experience. The game supports versus play, and can also be enjoyed by a single player. It was scheduled for release at a price of 3,500 yen, excluding tax. This is the ultimate real fighting simulation. This page features a striking preview for the Sega Mega Drive title, Aeroblasters, known internationally as Aeroblast. The artwork showcases the game's primary spacecraft soaring through space, accompanied by the determined crew members below. The headline declares, "Two lights saving the Earth are now taking off," hinting at the game's dual-player capability and heroic theme. This port of the arcade vertical scrolling shooter boasts several key features for the Mega Drive version. It promises an arcade-perfect experience, with varied scrolling environments and impressive graphics. Players can team up for simultaneous two-player action and utilize an array of powerful power-up items against gigantic, genre-defining boss characters. The game also highlights powerful stereo sound, immersing players in the intense battle. Developed by Knuckle, Aeroblasters was anticipated for a late January 1991 release, featuring a substantial 4 mega room size, though the price was yet to be announced at the time. The screenshots provide a glimpse into the fast-paced shooting action players can expect. This page showcases a lineup of game music and video releases from Toshiba Emi's Invictus label, marking the grand finale of 1990. It features soundtracks for several exciting titles, including FZ Senki Axis, the tactical giant Daisen Ryaku, 2i90 Imperial Force Air Combat, the intense shooter Granada, and the action RPG Lagoon. These albums are presented as bringing the game's excitement back to life with their splendid soundscapes. Additionally, the page highlights the debut of a Valis 2i animated video, promising a neo-animation video beyond common sense. These releases were either available immediately or slated for a December 12th launch, catering to fans eager to experience their favorite games through music and animation. This page presents the Game Gear title, Pop Breaker. The striking artwork showcases the game's protagonist, a determined young woman, alongside a powerful robotic vehicle, setting the tone for this unique action experience. The game is described as challenging players to the selection exam for SWAT, a Special Forces unit. Set in a chaotic 1990 Japan, where an unusual phenomenon amplifies dialects, causing widespread breakdown, conventional military is ineffective. The hope lies with SWAT, an all-female unit utilizing advanced GCA-controlled floating tanks like the Diana, which the 17-year-old protagonist, Ki Takeshita, aspires to pilot. Screenshots reveal a character selection interface, offering multiple options, and vibrant gameplay graphics featuring grid-based levels with various traps across 50 distinct stages. Developed by Microcabin, Pop Breaker was planned for release the following spring. This page showcases the vertical scrolling shooter, Dangerous Seed, released by Namco, for the Sega Mega Drive. The striking artwork features a futuristic spacecraft battling a grotesque alien creature, set against a backdrop of twisted organic structures. The large vertical text on the left serves as the game's tagline, urging players to prevent Earth invasion. The description highlights several key features differentiating this version from its arcade counterpart, notably offering 4 additional stages and a lavish overall stage design. A particularly interesting element mentioned is the implementation of a multi-round system, which allows the game's progression to branch, leading players to discover 3 hidden stages depending on how they play. Screenshots provide a glimpse of the intense gameplay, featuring action in outer space with a large alien boss, and navigating through challenging interior or cave-like environments filled with enemies. The page also provides the release details, stating the game was launched on December 18th at a price of 5,800 yen before tax. A note confirms that this product is official software for the Sega Mega Drive, licensed by Sega Enterprises. The next page features striking fantasy artwork for the Sega Mega Drive title, Burai Hachigyoku no Yushi Densetsu, from Kodansha Suken. The painting depicts a heroic-looking, muscular man raising a sword alongside a female warrior, facing off against a dark, monstrous creature. In the foreground, an open book radiates light, hinting at lore or magic within the game. Ruined pillars and a celestial body complete the epic backdrop. The visible part of the title, Bai, is likely part of a large stylized logo for Burai. Technical specifications note the game is an 8 meg room cartridge with battery backup, typical features for a significant RPG on the platform. The release was planned for the upcoming spring season. The artwork effectively conveys a sense of high fantasy adventure and peril. This page introduces the Sega Mega Drive RPG, Blue Almanac. The title was officially decided, previously known tentatively as Amaterasu. The artwork prominently features a striking, somewhat unsettling biomechanical creature or figure, set against a backdrop of stars and clouds. The game is described as a super authentic RPG with a completely original story. It takes place in the Galactic Federation Empire, founded by ancient aliens, where a young warrior inheriting their blood is about to embark on a grand, destiny-guided journey. Key features highlighted include fully animated multi-scrolling battle scenes, promising action game-like excitement, and the use of speech synthesis for magic spells, adding a unique audio element. While no screenshots are shown, the atmospheric art and description convey a sense of a unique sci-fi fantasy adventure. This page features Cutie Suzuki's Ringside Angel, a women's pro wrestling game for the Mega Drive. The striking visuals include a photo of pro wrestler Cutie Suzuki, labeled as the ultimate babyface, alongside a dynamic cartoon illustration of her rival, Megadeth Saito, the Executioner of Hell, chained and roaring. The prominent title, Burning Fighting Spirit, sets the tone. The game description highlights the cutthroat world of women's wrestling, asking who will rise to the top, Cutie Suzuki or Megadeth Saito. It mentions features like real-time commands for fast-paced action, dynamic special moves, and even realistic outside brawls. Screenshots display the pixelated in-game wrestling action and character portraits. Published by Asmik, the game was set for release on December 12th for 6,800 yen. This page is the table of contents for the January 1991 issue of BeepMD Drive. It previews upcoming and recent software releases, serving as a guide to the latest Mega Drive titles. The main features cover new releases across multiple pages, including titles like Blue Almanac, Elysia Dragoon, WrestleBall, Volfide, Sengokushi Retsuden, Battle Golfer Yui, Wardner, Valis 2i, Langrisser, and Vertex. Other highlights include Magical Hat, No Butobai Turbo, Zaibuken, Crackdown, Hard Driven, Midnight Resistance, Shining in the Darkness, Musha Aleste, Dangerous Seed, Gaiaras, Heavy Unit, and Aeroblasters. A separate supplement is featured covering strategy for Darius II and Elemental Master. Special features include a look back at 1990 and forward to 1991 with input from Mega Drive developers and a hot-blooded Mega Drive declaration from Data East. Several regular columns are also listed, covering news, game reviews, reader content, and tips like the Mega Drive Cheat League. The page includes 2 small screenshots showcasing gameplay from featured titles. This page features the B-Mega News section, highlighting exciting developments in the world of Sega. A major story covers Sega's installation of impressive entertainment systems at the Tokyo Dome, set to open on December 17th. Visitors can experience the futuristic Cyberdome, the dynamic CCD cart, and the iconic R360 motion simulator, offering intense, immersive arcade experiences far beyond typical games. Additionally, the page previews new accessory options for Mega Drive console owners. 2 third-party turbo controllers are featured, the Mega Blaster by Ace Electronics and the Mega Pad, likely from ASC2. The Mega Blaster, retailing for 2,480 yen, offers a traditional DPAD layout with turbofire and slow motion features, useful for intense shooters. The Mega Pad has a different layout with prominent face buttons and also includes turbo functions. These new pads give players more choice in how they control their Mega Drive games. This page presents the B-Mega Dog Race section, a review format where 4 judges' scores determine a game's ranking, likened to a dog race. The aim is to offer purchasing advice based on the judges' average scores. Highlighted is Cutie Suzuki's Ringside Angel, released on December 12th by Asmik. This game is the first Mega Drive wrestling title featuring the popular female wrestler Cutie Suzuki, promising flashy action. 4 judges weigh in. Mayumi Okada found the inclusion of real female wrestlers appealing, but thought the character art could be better, scoring at 7. Oikuji warned against letting imagination run wild when buying, noting some control issues but found the game clearly different and somewhat innovative compared to other sports games, awarding a 6. Kaizu Ningen no praised the smooth character animation based on solid research, but felt the game was unfinished and unbalanced, suggesting it's more for watching than playing, also scoring 6. Jam Ojisan saw the focus on a female wrestler as a good step for diversifying the Mega Drive genre lineup, but wished the game itself had been more thoroughly developed, giving it a 7. This installment of the B-Mega Dog Race reviews 4 Sega Mega Drive games. Elemental Master, a fantasy shoot-'em-up, was praised for its new mechanics and interesting setting, though some found the controls challenging and the game a bit easy, earning scores in the 7 to 8 range. Gyamanbura Jiko Chushin, Hakatayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo, a mahjong game based on a manga, appealed to fans with its characters and modes, despite a tough AI and slower speed. Scores varied widely, from 6 to a high 9. Gain Ground, a strategic action game, impressed with its gameplay and arcade accuracy, although reviewers noted graphical shortcomings and altered character proportions. Scores were mostly around 7. Decapack, based on an anime, received negative reviews due to its difficult and confusing gameplay, poorly designed maps, and lack of progression, with scores ranging from 5 to 6. This page reviews 4 Mega Drive titles released in December. First is Dangerous Seed, a vertical scrolling shooter. Reviewers found its initial appeal faded due to repetitive visuals and lack of novelty, rating it around 67, suggesting it might be okay for beginners, but ultimately feels like a B-grade effort. Next is Crackdown, an overhead strategic action game where you plant bombs and escape enemy bases. It supports 2 players simultaneously. Reviewers noted the screen was small but appreciated the strategic elements, especially in co-op. They found the small character sprites made solo play difficult, resulting in scores between 5 and 7. Darius 2, a port of the popular arcade horizontal shooter, received higher praise. Reviewers enjoyed the smooth animation and satisfying shooting mechanics. Despite some critiques of plain boss designs, it was considered a solid port that captured the arcade atmosphere, scoring from 7 to 9. Finally, Star Cruiser, a 3D adventure and shooting game ported from PC, was highlighted for its intense 3D dogfighting sections. While the adventure parts were deemed simple, the overall package impressed, particularly the merging of story and system. Reviewers noted the graphics were somewhat rough but good for the cartridge size, and while controls took some getting used to, it was recommended for its innovative direction and ability to immerse the player, scoring 7 to 9. This page presents reviews for several Mega Drive releases. First is Hard Drivin', a realistic driving game ported from the arcade. Reviewers found it to be a faithful port, enjoyable for casual play, despite lacking extensive gameplay depth, giving it scores around 7 and 9. Next is Gairasi, a horizontal shooter known for its striking visuals and innovative ideas, though the high difficulty level proved frustrating for reviewers, resulting in scores around 6 and 7. The third game reviewed is Musha Aleste, released internationally as M.U.H.A, a fast-paced vertical shooter from Compile featuring unique samurai mecha designs. Reviewers praised its impactful gameplay and high quality, deeming it an excellent choice for shooting game enthusiasts, with scores ranging from 6 to 9. Overall, this month saw a large number of releases, with Musha Aleste being particularly recommended. The reviewers note that many high-quality titles were released this month. This page presents a new release scramble, giving us a look at several upcoming titles. Among those highlighted are Alicia Dragoon, Volfied, Battle Golfer Yui, Vixen 357, and a Romance of the Three Kingdoms related game. The main focus is on Blue Almanac, a new RPG set in space. The story revolves around a galactic federation and the discovery of an ancient alien spaceship by humans, leading to a shocking event. A young protagonist finds himself caught in the unfolding chaos. The game features a unique magic system based on 4 symbols: wind, fire, nothingness, and water. Combining these symbols, with the order mattering, results in 40 different types of magic. Examples include Garo, fire plus fire, which summons a creature to attack a single enemy, and Rago, water plus fire, which cures poison on an ally. The magic system has 3 levels, promising depth for players. Screenshots showcase the game's battle scenes, which the magazine praises as perfect, highlighting the well-animated main character and monsters in various environments. The preview indicates a lot more to look forward to in the next issue. This page gives us an in-depth look at the upcoming action shooter, Alicia Dragoon, developed by GameArts. It's described as an 8-directional scrolling shooting game with a fantasy setting, built upon the system from GameArts' previous PC-88 hit, the XDER. The story follows Alicia, an electric sorceress seeking revenge against Drulgar, who killed her master and is attempting to revive a powerful monster. She is joined on her quest by loyal monster companions raised alongside her. The game features 13 distinct stages, each with its own clear condition and a large boss, all connected by a compelling story. Alicia's primary attacks are a lightning whip and fireballs that also serve as a shield. A key feature is that both attacks automatically target enemies. She is assisted by 8 types of option monsters, who provide support by attacking, defending, or powering up Elysia. These companions also grow stronger as the game progresses. The game includes a password system for saving progress. Adding to the game's appeal, the graphics and story supervision are handled by Gainax, known for their animation work like Gunbuster, Top Wo Nere. The visuals are praised for their quality. Screenshots showcase Elysia navigating intricate cave systems and other detailed environments. Finally, a special feature section displays some of Elysia's sprite animations, highlighting her dynamic movements in action. The text notes her diverse poses and humorously comments on her rather revealing outfit. This page dives into the wild world of Lethal Ball, a ruleless, violent future sports game from Namco. It's a chaotic blend of soccer, American football, and various fighting techniques. Played with teams of 11 robots each, the goal is simple: get the ball into the opponent's goal. However, how you get there involves brutal takedowns, with players able to use moves like drop kicks and close chops from a repertoire of 15 fighting techniques. Players have different stats, like weight class and damage levels, adding depth to the mayhem. The game features league play divided into 4 quarters and supports 2 players for even more intense matches. Screenshots highlight key moments like the chaotic scramble for the ball at kickoff, scoring a goal, and a penalty attempt sequence. The score screen even features a victory pose by a female character. It sounds like a truly exhilarating and unconventional sports experience. The page also mentions a giveaway for an LCD game called Chibi Maruko-chan no Okashi de Pihara, where the player catches falling treats. This page features Volfied, a popular arcade game making its way to the Sega Mega Drive. It's described as a fast-paced game of territorial conquest, building on the legacy of Taito's earlier titles. The Mega Drive version isn't just a simple port. It includes 3 distinct modes: a mode faithful to the arcade, P mode based on the PC Engine version, and Q mode similar to the classic Qs. The core objective remains enclosing areas of the field to reach 75% or more to clear the stage. You start on the edge with a shield, but venturing into the field draws a line and leaves you vulnerable to enemies if they touch you or your line before it's completed. Screenshots demonstrate the progression, starting from the edge, drawing lines, avoiding enemies, and finally enclosing an area which clears enclosed enemies. The different modes offer varied challenges. A mode allows returning to the green edge line safely and features random item block contents. P mode is harsher, with instant death if enemies touch your line and fixed item block contents. Q mode simplifies things for beginners by removing smaller enemies and item blocks, but touching the line is instant death. The game is praised for its wide field of play and the enlarged main boss characters, contributing to a powerful gaming experience. The audio quality is also highlighted as impressive. This page delves deeper into Volkified's mechanics and showcases its variety of bosses. It explains the item blocks found in a Yuka and Sip modes, which randomly provide helpful power-ups like temporary enemy freezes or lasers when enclosed while visible. A key strategy highlighted is aiming for the 99.9% completion bonus, worth a massive 500,000 points and extra lives. The method involves first clearing smaller enemies, then trapping the main boss in a tiny area before sealing it off. The page also presents the unique boss characters for the first 9 stages, offering a glimpse into the diverse challenges players will face. From evolving segmented creatures and a teleporting dinosaur skeleton to heavily armed mechanical foes and powered-up versions of earlier bosses, each stage features a distinct Oyatama that requires adapting tactics. This page provides an in-depth look at the game Romance of the Three Kingdoms Retsuden, Heroes of the Turbulent Age. It's presented as a follow-up report focusing on the game's system, described as a unique simulation title based on the Romance of the Three Kingdoms. The game features a distinctive real-time system for strategic movement and combat on a non-hex map. Players deploy units on the map and issue movement orders using a cursor. Units then automatically move towards their targets, leading to battle upon encountering enemies. Combat involves controlling individual unit movements and formations in real time. A notable feature is the action-based mode that occurs when generals meet, allowing the player to directly control their general in a dynamic encounter. The game also emphasizes strategic actions outside of battle, such as forming alliances, offering bribes, and even attempting assassinations, all of which significantly impact the game's outcome. The graphics and overall presentation are highlighted as appealing to fans of simulation games. The next page continues the coverage of Romance of the Three Kingdoms Retsuden, Heroes of the Turbulent Age. It dives deeper into the combat system, explaining that upon encountering enemies, the view switches to a battle screen. While units can move automatically, players can also manually direct their movement and targets. A major highlight is the unique action mode that triggers when generals clash, allowing direct control in a dynamic duel. The aftermath of battle is also detailed, where defeated officers can be captured, executed, or released, adding a strategic layer to managing resources and personnel. Below that, the page introduces Battle Golfer Yui, an intriguing title described as an adventure golf game. The story involves the protagonist, Yui, who is modified by a mysterious organization called Dark Hazard and faces repeated assassination attempts. The gameplay blends match-play golf with RPG elements, where winning matches against assassins earns experience and credits, allowing Yui to level up and gain new skills. The text notes that the game's release was delayed to enhance the graphics, suggesting a commitment to visual quality. It's presented as a unique take on the golf genre, combining sports with a compelling narrative. This page features 3 upcoming games for the Sega Mega Drive. First is Ushiwakamaru Saburo Monogatari, Provisional, an RPG from Sega. This appears to be a unique take on the genre, placing the player in the role of a businessman navigating the daily grind. The screenshots show character interactions and an overhead view of city environments, hinting at a different kind of battle than traditional fantasy RPGs, perhaps focusing on business negotiations and challenges. Next is Valis 2 Eyes, an action game from Nippon Telenet, set for a March release. This marks the debut of the popular Valis series on the Mega Drive. The game introduces a new main character named Cham. The text praises the visual quality, noting the use of 4 meters of memory, which allows for numerous impressive visual scenes after clearing stages, offering smooth and detailed character movements and graphics. Finally, there's Wernana no Mori Special Version, Provisional, an action game by Visco, scheduled for February. This is Visco's first title on the Mega Drive, a port of their arcade game. Players battle monsters and collect money to purchase equipment and power-ups in shops that appear after each stage. The objective is to rescue a loved one and defeat the embodiment of evil, featuring dynamic elements like rideable platforms and environmental hazards. This page features 2 exciting upcoming titles set for a March release. First up is Langrisser, known internationally as Warsong, from Messiah. This is a fantasy simulation RPG with deep tactical elements. The preview highlights the legendary sword Langrisser and the conflict it causes, focusing on the story of protagonist Ledin as he faces the invasion by Emperor Daigos. The screenshots show the strategic grid-based battles, where you command units, emphasizing movement, attack, and magic options. The article notes the game features 20 regular scenarios and 5 competitive ones, promising a substantial experience. Next is Very Atex from Asmik, a vertical scrolling shooter which is a relatively rare genre on the Mega Drive. The preview praises its use of the full screen space, unlike many vertical shooters that use parts of the screen for status displays, giving it a less cramped feel. The story summary describes a science fiction setting centuries in the future, involving a rebellion on a colonized planet and a reconnaissance mission that finds only destruction. Screenshots showcase various stages, from planetary surfaces and interiors to impressive space environments, suggesting a visually dynamic game. Both titles are still in development, with prices yet to be decided, but appear to be promising additions to the Mega Drive library. This page features Decap Attack, an action game released by Sega on December 15th. Based on a TV anime, the reviewer notes that while it might look like a game for kids, it offers a surprisingly challenging experience. The gameplay revolves around the protagonist, Chuck D. Head, originally Magical Hat, whose punch can transform and travel forward, knocking out enemies. A unique mechanic allows players to slow their descent by repeatedly pressing the K button, enabling aerial maneuvering or faster swimming underwater. The story section details how the ancient demon Jark, Max D. Cap, sealed away 63,000 years ago by the original Magical Hat, is attempting to revive. Chuck D. Head inherits the power and hat to fight him, aided by the helpful robot headcase invented by his friends. The page also highlights the abundance of items found by breaking Moai heads, which can contain power-ups, enemies, or even headcase. The reviewer comments that the game feels reminiscent of Alex Kidd and is filled with enjoyable features. Screenshots show various levels and a cutscene featuring the villain and creators. This page delves deeper into the world of Decap Attack, known as Magical Hat in Japan, focusing on the crucial items and gameplay mechanics. It categorizes helpful items into three types: balls for auxiliary effects, capsules for vehicles, and drinks to boost abilities. Examples shown include items that stop enemies, grant temporary invincibility, summon a helicopter or submarine, extend punch range, and increase speed and jump height. The core objective is highlighted as reclaiming the 7 islands, each divided into multiple stages, culminating in a boss fight. Players must find a specific, clear item in each stage to progress and restore the island. The page offers gameplay tips, emphasizing the importance of quickly locating checkpoints and navigating unique platforms like rideable clouds and trees. Finally, the fun bonus games are introduced, appearing after clearing each stage. These come in 2 types, slot machine and Amida, offering chances to gain extra lives. The reviewer stresses the importance of utilizing these minigames to stock up on lives for the challenging stages ahead. The page features various screenshots illustrating item effects, level design, and the bonus game screens. This page features the Mahjong game, Gyowambara Jikochu Shinha Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo for the Mega Drive. Released on December 14th for 6,800 yen, this title is based on a previous work and offers a fun mahjong experience for various skill levels. The game boasts 21 unique opponents with distinct personalities and features exciting endings. Players can dive into different modes like the free battle against any of the 21 opponents, the challenging class battle knockout tournament, or the beginner-friendly Mahjong Dojo. The story follows a student who transfers to a high school aiming to become a pro Mahjong player, only to find himself surrounded by eccentric characters. The page includes a helpful flowchart quiz titled Let's Test to guide players to the most suitable mode based on their personality and Mahjong knowledge. Whether you have a gambler's spirit suited for intense free battles, the grit for the team-based class battle aiming for a gorgeous ending, or are a beginner who needs to learn the rules in the Mahjong Dojo, there's a mode for you. A screenshot shows the Mahjong gameplay interface, and a small comic features a character commenting on Mahjong requiring patience. This game seems packed with content for both new and experienced Mahjong players. This page delves deeper into the various modes and vibrant characters found in Gyowambara Jikochu Shinha Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo. The game offers a diverse but mega hot menu of options, starting with the free battle, allowing players to challenge any of the 21 distinct opponents, each with unique personalities and tactics. Next is the Class Battle Mahjong, presented as a knockout tournament where you battle through different classes, culminating in an ending for those who conquer. Finally, the Mahjong Dojo is a quiz mode designed to teach players the ropes and refine their skills, even offering feedback on their playstyle. A significant portion of the page is dedicated to showcasing some of the wonderful people waiting for you, highlighting the expressive reactions and catchphrases of opponents like Wakaba, Hyotu, Hideyuki, and Paburo, whose personalities range from cute and feisty to intimidating and quirky. It emphasizes that the changing expressions and dialogue during gameplay, particularly reactions to winning or losing hands like Richi, Pawn, Kan, Sumo, and Ron, are a major charm of the game, making the experience feel dynamic and engaging. This page continues the exploration of Gyowambara Jikochu Shinha Katayama Masayuki no Mahjong Dojo, focusing on the Mahjong Dojo mode, which serves as a tutorial. The article acknowledges that while Mahjong is engaging, its rules and terminology can be complex for beginners, and patience is needed to learn. It then breaks down fundamental concepts into 3 periods. The first period explains the basic structure of a winning hand, consisting of 1 pair and 4 sets, and introduces the state of tenpai, where only 1 more tile is needed. The second period emphasizes the critical role of yaku, scoring patterns, highlighting that simply having a complete hand is insufficient. Specific yaku are required to win, comparing them to poker hands. The final period details pawn and chi, actions players can take to complete sets using discarded tiles from opponents. Throughout these lessons, the game's expressive characters and their reactions are featured, adding personality to the learning process, much like the character highlights on the previous page. The page concludes with a present announcement, offering readers a chance to win the original comic book series the game is based on. This page features the second part of the hot-blooded Mega Drive Declaration series, highlighting Data East and Kodansha Management Research Institute. The article discusses the increasing number of Mega Drive releases and how the launch of the Super Famicom is influencing third-party developer strategies. Data East, a well-known developer responsible for classic hot-blooded titles like the Kunio-kun series, released internationally as games such as Renegade and River City Ransom, is paired with Kodansha Management Research Institute, described as a newcomer to the game industry. Despite their different backgrounds, both companies share a strong passion for creating software. The page includes portraits of 3 individuals associated with the feature. 2 of them are shown wearing boxing gloves, perfectly capturing the hot-blooded theme often seen in Data East's action and sports games. A sidebar notes the companies that have participated in this serialized project in previous issues. This page features Data East, known as Deco, and discusses their entry into the Mega Drive market. As a company with a long history in arcade, Famicom, and pinball games, Data East sees the Mega Drive as a great platform for porting their successful arcade titles to home consoles. They note that the Mega Drive's hardware, particularly the 68,000 CPU, makes development straightforward. Data East explains that their focus will primarily be on bringing recent arcade hits to the system. Their first title is Midnight Resistance, with Vapor Trail, Kuga, planned as the second, targeting a spring release. They mention that Vapor Trail has been challenging to develop, but are excited about the prospect. The company is also interested in potential peripherals, like the Cry-Drum and modems, seeing the Mega Drive system as capable. Currently, there are no plans for original Mega Drive exclusive titles. The strategy centers on leveraging their existing arcade catalog. The page includes a photo of the Data East Corporation building and a brief company history timeline highlighting key milestones such as their founding, entry into arcade games, the introduction of the Deco cassette system, and the release of notable titles like Karnov, Dragon Ninja, RoboCop, and the upcoming Midnight Resistance for Mega Drive. This page continues the feature on Data East's entry into the Mega Drive market, focusing on their first title, the arcade hit Midnight Resistance, featuring interviews with key staff, including the Chief of Publicity and the Chief of Graphic Development. The discussion highlights the perfect port quality of Midnight Resistance, which even includes the arcade's demo sequence. It will be an 8 megabit cartridge, priced at 6,800 yen, and is scheduled for a spring release. They note the Mega Drive's capability allowed them to include the original arcade soundboard's sound chip, a significant technical achievement. The interview also touches on adapting the arcade's analog controls to the Mega Drive's digital pad, and briefly confirms Vapor Trail is still planned as the second release. The page is punctuated by screenshots showcasing the intense action of the Midnight Resistance gameplay. This page introduces Kodansha Management Research Institute's foray into the game industry, specifically on the Sega Mega Drive. Known primarily for developing business software and management games, they are entering the hobby game market with the philosophy that the games must be genuinely interesting to the user, a principle they are confident in. They chose the Mega Drive partly due to its 16-bit power and the welcoming nature of Sega's third-party network. Their first title for the Mega Drive is an RPG called Blue Almanac, scheduled for an April 1991 release. The name Almanac relates to celestial and tidal records, implying a game where keeping track of cycles or information is key. They are looking into different game concepts, including simulations and competitive games that could utilize split-screen visuals. While currently relying on external staff, they plan to build an internal development team. The article includes a brief history, noting their establishment in 1978 and the shift towards game development starting in 1989, culminating in the upcoming Blue Almanac. There are no screenshots or character images on this page. This page continues the discussion of Kodansha Management Research Institute's first Sega Mega Drive title, Blue Almanac. The article features interviews with Masahiro Tanaka and Kazuhiko Shimojima from the Planning and Development Department. They express confidence in the game's production status, stating it's progressing smoothly and is on track for the planned April 1991 release. They emphasize the significant effort put into the battle scene animations, which are nearly complete, and mention the implementation of magic effects is starting. The battle system is described as dynamic, with characters moving towards enemies for attacks, including diagonal movement and detailed sound design. The developers aim for a challenging difficulty, wanting the game to be complex and interesting, not just a simple monster bash. They are highly confident in Blue Almanac's quality, feeling it has become something truly enjoyable, and are looking forward to feedback from players and the industry. They are even contemplating a sequel. The bottom of the page features screenshots illustrating the battle system, which is compared to the style of Final Fantasy on the Famicom. It shows characters and enemies on screen, with descriptions mentioning characters moving to attack with weapons or magic, and features like back attacks. Blue Almanac is confirmed as an RPG, utilizing an 8 megabit backup cartridge. This page features Sound Club Volume 14, which delves into the philosophy of buying music based purely on its album cover art. calling the jacket the face of the sound. The article discusses how interesting and diverse album covers can be, particularly from overseas, and posits that while you can sometimes infer the music from the cover, it's ultimately a gamble, or a jacket buy. The page showcases a collection of noteworthy album covers with brief descriptions. These include the iconic pyramid art from Asia's Alpha, Jethro Tull's Minstrel in the Gallery featuring a child on an animal, Yes's Fragile with its intricate back cover art, and King Crimson's In the Court of the Crimson King, notable for lacking the title and artist on the front. Also highlighted are Genesis's Nursery Crime and its creepy gatekeepers, Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery, known for its famous jacket and pop-up inside, and their album Tarkus, with its tank armadillo creature. A classic Japanese album, Yonen Bayashi's Ishoku Sokuhatsu, is included for its striking elephant image. The page also features tackheads friendly as a hand grenade, noting its techno genre contrasting with the illustration, and the US/European cover of Yellow Magic Orchestra's first album. It's clear this magazine appreciates visual design, whether it's for a game or a record. This page jumps into the world of game music reviews, fittingly titled Game Music New Release Review. It presents several CD releases featuring game music. First up is a CD covering music from the Neo Geo titles The Super Spy and Ninja Combat. The reviewer highlights the vocal arrangement of Ninja Combat as particularly noteworthy and comments on the Super Spy's jazz-like spy theme music. Next, we have the album for the Mega Drive game Axis, known internationally as Heavy Nova. The review discusses the arrangements of the Mega Drive version's music, noting that they sound more dynamic and dramatic, almost like an anime soundtrack compared to the original FM sound. Following that is a release from Konami's sound team, Kukeiha Club. This album features arrangements, specifically mentioning Gradius, and also original songs by the sound team. The reviewer expresses surprise at the inclusion of original, non-game music tracks, blending jazz and other styles. Finally, the music from the Mega Drive port of Granada is reviewed. The album receives high praise, with the reviewer pointing out the overall melancholic melody lines characteristic of Wolf Team's music. They also mention a distinctive synth solo in the arranged versions. This page begins a new interview series featuring game critic Jam Ojisan, identified here as Yoshiki Yasuda, who interviews Taito's Takeo Shirotaka about their console strategy. This page kicks off a new interview series, TV Game Market Frontline, hosted by the now-revealed Jam Ojisan, game critic Yoshiki Yasuda. For the first installment, he interviews Mr. Takeo Shirotaka from Taito, discussing Taito's strategy in the evolving TV game market of 1990. They touch upon the landscape with the Super Famicom's launch and Taito's recent entry into the Mega Drive platform. The conversation delves into Taito's initial Mega Drive releases, such as New Zealand Story, Dynamite Joe, and Rastan Saga 2. The text reflects on player reactions to these early titles, noting some user disappointment compared to Taito's arcade reputation, and highlights the anticipation for upcoming releases like Darius 2 and the Ninja Warriors, which players hoped would showcase Taito's true capabilities. Screenshots of New Zealand Story, Dynamite Joe, and Rastan Saga 2 are featured alongside the interview text and photos of the interviewer and interviewee. This page continues the interview with Taito, focusing on their strategy and recent releases. It highlights Taito's efforts to meet user expectations with titles like Rainbow Islands Extra Version and Darius 2. A dedicated section delves into Darius 2, emphasizing its design as user-centric, detailing the development challenges like ROM size choices, and praising the final result for its balanced sound, graphics, and faithful recreation of the arcade feel, especially the boss encounters. The developers were happy with the positive user reception and the game's differentiation from other ports. Looking ahead, Taito discusses expanding into new genres and responding to the changing market, including the rise of female gamers. They are considering both arcade ports and original titles for the Mega Drive. Upcoming anticipated ports mentioned include the Ninja Warriors and Thunder Fox for 1991, acknowledging the difficulty in adapting some arcade experiences to 16-bit. The interview also touches on exploring casual games that appeal to demographics like office ladies, citing examples like Chibi Maruko-chan. The interviewer expresses anticipation for titles like Night Striker. The discussion concludes by acknowledging the challenging market, but commending Taito as a strong, well-balanced developer in the Mega Drive scene, and encouraging them to continue creating masterpieces that live up to user expectations. Photos of Taito representatives, including Mr. Okutomi Hiroyuki, are featured alongside the text. This page features the BeepMD Dataland section, delivering reader data straight from surveys, highlighted by the Shop Data MegaDrive software sales top 10 chart. Dynamite Duke makes a powerful debut, seizing the #1 spot this month, an action game well suited for relieving stress with its protagonist's shooting and punching action. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker continues its strong performance, ranking #2, praised for its detailed character visuals. Another new entry storms the charts at #3, Fire Shark. Toplan's challenging vertical shooter Columns remains a persistent favorite in the top ranks, landing at #4, its addictive puzzle gameplay keeping it popular. Veterans like Super Dazen Ryaku and Strider demonstrate staying power, holding positions at 5 and 6. Following its discussion in the previous issue, Taito's Rainbow Islands Extra version debuts on the chart at #7. The top 10 is completed by Cyberball, Insector X, and Hellfire. The page also includes brief spotlights on the featured games, offering commentary and screenshots. This page dives into game rankings, featuring both arcade popularity and Mega Drive user favorites. The top section presents the Shop Data video game top 5 for arcades, where Namco's F1 Racer Final Lap 2 holds the #1 spot, followed by Sega's GLOC, Seibu Kaihatsu and Tecmo's vertical shooter Raiden, Taito's Air Inferno, and Sega's GP Rider. Screenshots offer a glimpse of these hits, from Final Lap 2's detailed track to GLOC's immersive cockpit view and Raiden's classic top-down action. Below the arcade charts is the User Data Mega Drive Popularity Top 20, based on reader surveys. Topping this list is the intense, horizontal shooter Thunder Force 2i, which held the top spot from the previous page's discussion. The epic RPG Phantasy Star II ranks second, with Super Monaco GP taking the third position. Other high-ranking favorites include the action-packed Revenge of Shinobi, the classic Afterburner 2, and the ever-popular puzzle game Columns. A bar chart visualizes the relative popularity, and screenshots highlight the top Mega Drive games, showing Thunder Force 2i's explosive visuals and Phantasy Star II's character interface. The page notes that this user data is compiled from surveys across several months, ensuring a robust popularity snapshot. This page presents fascinating insights into what Mega Drive users were anticipating and what they wish they could play on the system. The first chart, User Data, Most Anticipated New Games Top 20, shows the upcoming releases generating the most buzz. Topping the list is the highly anticipated RPG, Shining in the Darkness, followed by Taito's arcade sequel, Darius 2. Other notable entries include the strategy game Advanced Military Commander, the fantasy shooter Elemental Master, and the action game Gyars. The second chart, User Data, Games Users Want Ported Top 20, highlights arcade and other system games that users desperately wanted to see on the Mega Drive. The arcade beat-em-up classic Final Fight takes the #1 spot here, demonstrating its immense popularity. Bullfrog's innovative god game Populous is second, followed by Namco's Legend of Valkyrie. Other popular requests include Sega's Alien Storm and Namco's World Stadium. Below the charts, the software manufacturer communication section offers brief updates directly from the developers. Sega mentions upcoming titles like Shadow Dancer and Crackdown. Taito talks about the impending release of Darius 2. Game Arts highlights their Mahjong title, Gambler Jikochu Shinpa. And Technosoft teases the release of Elemental Master and mentions the arcade version of Thunder Force. These updates give a direct line to the developers' plans and perspectives. This page features a comprehensive list of upcoming software releases for the Mega Drive, offering a clear look at the near future for the console. It directly relates to the excitement and anticipation discussed on the previous page by providing concrete release dates and statuses for many anticipated titles. The main content is a table detailing new games with columns for release date, game name, genre, manufacturer, mega size, and price. Among the titles listed are games that were highly anticipated, such as the RPG Shining in the Darkness, listed with a January 1st release, the shooter Darius 2, December 20th, and the action game Gyars, December 22nd. The notable upcoming games include Hard Drivin', December 21st, Super Baseball, February 1st, and strategic titles like Advanced Military Commander, February planned. The schedule covers releases from late December into the spring, and even includes titles with a planned or undecided status for months ahead. Genres span the popular types on the system, including shoot 'em ups, SHT, action, ACT, RPGS, strategy, SLG, sports, SPT, puzzle, PUZ, and racing, rack. This list provides crucial information for players looking forward to new Mega Drive experiences. This page discusses a speculative concept for a new type of portable game machine called the Mega Philo, conceived as an evolution of devices like the Game & Watch. It moves beyond simple portability and performance, proposing a handbook-style design. The core idea is to consolidate multiple games into a single device, using a binder-like system that can hold up to 5 game cards. Users select games by flipping the pages, cards, and the device remembers the game state with battery backup even when closed. Unlike the Game Gear, which also featured a TV tuner, the Mega Philo's focus is on convenient multi-game storage and selection. The concept targets a price of around 59,800 yen. The accompanying diagram illustrates the proposed design, showing features like the screen, controls, ports, and the unique binder mechanism for game cards. This page features the final installment of the column, Emperor of Mania, by Ikeda Kizoku. It's a deep dive into the world of progressive rock music, a significant influence for many. The author reflects on his passion for prog rock, mentioning key bands like ELP, King Crimson, Yes, Pink Floyd, and Toto. He discusses the complexity and depth of their music, highlighting albums such as Elp's Pictures at an Exhibition and Yes's masterpieces Close to the Edge and Fragile. The article touches on the technical skill of musicians like John Anderson's vocals and Carl Palmer's drumming, and shares a personal anecdote about meeting the editor-in-chief and a past incident related to the band Asia. Despite being in a gaming magazine, this column offers a look into the musical tastes and influences of the time, particularly within a culture that often appreciates complex and technical achievements, much like in gaming. This page features the Game Writer's Wandering Diary column, Looking from the Back of the TV Monitor, by Koji Orihara, with illustrations by Masatoshi Nakamoto. This 8th installment, subtitled The Volume of Wishing I Could Be Soft-Headed, delves into the writer's perspective on game evaluations and reader feedback. The author references a previous article about BeepMD race and addresses comments received from readers regarding his scoring methods, particularly for that game. He discusses the subjective nature of game reviews and how numerical scores, especially on a simple 10-point scale, can't fully capture the atmosphere or experience of a game. He points out that he personally tends to purchase games rated 8 points or higher, while rarely buying those at 7 points or below, offering this as a practical example of how scores are used subjectively. He also mentions reader feedback regarding the subjective nature of reviews, and cites games like Thunder Force 2i and Pyland as examples of titles with strong appeal. The column concludes by teasing the next installment, which will focus on nostalgic games, with a particular emphasis on classic Sega titles. He specifically mentions Pengo for Game Gear, inviting readers to look forward to the next issue, while perhaps playing some old favorites. The illustrations show friendly, character-like figures chatting, adding a lighthearted touch to the discussion on game evaluation. This page continues the Mega Hot menu feature, focusing on hot new releases for the Sega Mega Drive. The main highlight is the game Gainug, a horizontal scrolling shooter that pushes the system's graphical capabilities with its unique, grotesque beauty. The article delves into Gainug's core mechanics, detailing its distinctive power-up system, where shot power and the number of projectiles are upgraded separately. It also highlights the gem item, which allows players to change the direction of their shots, offering strategic depth with forward, backward, and spread shot options. Beyond basic attacks, the game features a magic system, activated by collecting magic scrolls. There are 8 different spells available, each providing unique offensive or defensive abilities, such as the Grand Attack spell that travels along the ground or ceiling, or the Aura Shield that grants temporary invincibility. The page includes screenshots showcasing the different power-up levels and the various magic spells in action. A sidebar lists other games featured in this menu, including Ambition of Caesar, Twin Cobra, Crackdown, Hard Drivin', Star Cruiser, and Midnight Resistance, directing readers to their respective pages starting from page 65. This page continues the look at new releases, focusing on Stage 1 of Wings of Whir, known as Ginug in Japan. The reviewer was immediately impressed by the visuals upon starting the game. Stage 1 is described as a long cave level, with lush growth and exposed rock, featuring an exceptional variety of enemies. The page offers gameplay advice, noting that screen shakes indicate falling rocks from the ceiling, and advising players to shoot down the homing missile-like red bats that appear in groups, especially before boss encounters. A section details some of the bizarre creatures encountered, including bouncing rock faces, falling mushroom-like beings, parasitic bugs, hazardous fleshy jars, and even an apparently invincible water creature. It also highlights a giant, growing bug with a weak point, and the stage boss, a rusted human-faced train, detailing where to focus fire. The variety and unique design of the enemies are clearly a major highlight, though some are noted as particularly tough or even unbeatable. The next page dives into Stage 2 of Gynug, known internationally as Wings of Whir. This stage is presented as a three-phase level, starting on the sea surface, moving underwater, and ending with a major battle on the seabed. As expected, the enemies are heavily sea-themed, with surface foes including seagulls, flying fish, and strange clouds and monkeys. The one-point lesson highlights key enemies like the Mini Big Rover, which has a peculiar movement pattern involving vertical shifts at the screen edge, followed by swift dashes and heavy bullet fire. The Rockeye is noted as a very durable enemy, appearing either singly and bouncing, or in groups of three, with its low shot power making it tricky to defeat. The Monster Strategy Guide details several unique underwater creatures. We see the Sorrowful Cloud, which fires beams but isn't dangerous unless you're directly underneath, and the Ammonite, appearing in spreading lines. The Isogen Chio is a seabed fixture that shoots beams but can hide, requiring careful approach. The Sea Goblin, a man-faced fish, moves vertically on the right and shoots scales. The Bonefish is a fast enemy using special attacks. The Big Rover acts as a mid-boss, firing complex beam patterns. The Stage 2 boss, the Sea Commander, is described as having its face as a weak point and, despite initially seeming easy, attacks rapidly with many bullets, requiring expert dodging. The next page features the game Ambition of Caesar, a real-time simulation title from Micronet. Following up on a previous introduction, this article focuses on Stage 2 and introduces Stage 3. The game is described as a demanding real-time simulation requiring swift judgment to succeed, unlike simpler wargames. The premise involves Caesar's journey from Crete to Alexandria. Stage 2 is a critical naval battle where Caesar's fleet, including vital landing ships, is ambushed by rebel forces just before reaching Alexandria, where Cleopatra is held captive. The primary objective is to safely land the troop ships. The strategy guide provides steps for Stage 2. Step 1 advises quick deployment to keep enemies far from the landing ships and aggressively pursue any that head towards them. Step 2 suggests focusing on one-on-one naval engagements, pursuing enemies even if they try to escape to the map edge, always prioritizing the defense of the landing craft. A one-point lesson offers crucial tips. It warns players to be mindful of surprisingly strong currents on the map that can drift ships unexpectedly. It also advises timing repairs. Engage the enemy until their combat strength is low, then quickly repair damaged ships before resuming combat. The page includes screenshots illustrating ship formations, combat, and the strategic map. The next page dives into Stage 3 of Ambition of Caesar, the crucial siege battle in Alexandria. After successfully landing the troops, Caesar's army marches towards the palace where Cleopatra awaits. But the path is blocked by two rivers with barricaded bridges, which rebel forces are actively trying to destroy. The primary goal is to reach the palace, but losing all bridges on either river spells instant game over. This stage emphasizes securing and maintaining control of these vital bridges. One key strategy is to retreat units early when their stamina is low, as there are no rest houses available directly on the map, making recovery time-consuming if units are depleted. The guide also recommends using a decoy strategy to lure enemies away from the intended bridge, allowing the main force to push through and clear the path quickly. The final assault on the palace, heavily fortified with double barricades, requires concentrating nearly all available forces, minus those essential for bridge defense, for a decisive push. Important tips cover executing the decoy effectively, being mindful of enemy bombardment range, resting units efficiently near available houses, and recognizing that even a single unit annihilation can be critical if bridges are blocked, preventing reinforcements from reaching the front lines. This stage is presented as a significant challenge requiring careful resource management and tactical execution. This page focuses on the Sega Mega Drive release of the classic arcade shoot-'em-up, Twin Cobra. The article highlights its imminent release and its popularity from the arcade. It's described as an orthodox shooter where you control a helicopter using basic controls for shooting and bombs, with power-ups for your main weapon and increased bomber stock. A key feature is the colored orbs that change your weapon type based on their color when picked up, offering 4 distinct weapon variations: a spread shot, blue; a 4-way shot, yellow, a powerful machine gun, red, and a focused laser, green, each with its own power-up stages. The Mega Drive version is noted to have a horizontal screen format, differing from the arcade. The review mentions that this can make boss fights more challenging due to closer engagement, and enemy bullets might be slightly faster. However, the graphics, character movements, and even the music, which is a cool arrangement of the arcade soundtrack, are largely faithful to the original. A guide for Stage 1 is also provided, warning about the fast enemy bullets from the start, and advising players to weave left and right. The urban area is pointed out as particularly tricky due to transport helicopters and tanks, suggesting players prioritize threats carefully. The boss strategy is noted as similar to the arcade, and the blue weapon is recommended for this stage. Screenshots throughout the page showcase the gameplay, various enemy types, and the visual differences between weapon types. This strategic guide provides crucial tips for navigating stages 2 through 5 of Twin Cobra on Sega Mega Drive. Stage 2 features transport ships, a battleship, and large transport planes, urging players to utilize bombs for quick elimination and to evade the boss's timed bursts. Stage 3 emphasizes awareness due to unexpected tank attacks and transport ships, recommending bombs for immediate destruction of enemies and advising a close-range attack on the boss. Stage 4 introduces green boats, transport planes, and ground hatches requiring precise timing and bomb usage, culminating in a more mobile boss encounter. Stage 5, noted for constant transport planes, stresses heavy bomb usage. The blue spread shot weapon is the suggested weapon of choice for the Stage 5 boss. This page focuses on the Sega Mega Drive title, Crackdown. It introduces the game, describing the story where a rogue scientist creates combat artificial life forms in the future industrial city Atlantis, and two special agents, Ben and Andy, are sent to destroy it. The game system involves navigating 4 floors per stage across a total of 3 stages, 12 areas. Players are equipped with a machine gun, cannon, and super bomb, needing to place bombs at designated red locations to clear each area. Ammo is limited, and switching weapons is done with the A button. Picking up items is crucial for progression. Stage 1 serves as a training ground, with fewer traps and enemies, designed for players to master basic techniques like wall sticking and diagonal shooting. The first floor, Act 1, has only 3 bomb locations and minimal maze elements, focusing on getting comfortable with controls and collecting items. 2 prominent enemies are highlighted. The hit thrower, armed with a powerful flamethrower, is slow but persistent, and the crash soldier, which self-destructs, attacking with flying fragments. A basic technique, the wall stick spider strategy, is explained as effective in narrow corridors for avoiding enemy fire by clinging to walls. The page includes screenshots showing the title screen, in-game action with character and enemy sprites, item icons, an overhead view of the Atlantis city, and demonstrations of wall sticking. It sets the scene for a strategic action game requiring careful movement and item management. This page continues the discussion on Crackdown, moving beyond the basics introduced previously to cover strategy and advanced techniques for later floors. It breaks down tactics for Acts 2, 3, and 4. Act 2 emphasizes using blind spots and mastering 8-direction shooting, noting the increase in enemies, including machine gunners, on this more complex floor. Precise aiming is highlighted as crucial here. Act 3 ramps up the difficulty significantly, introducing time pressure and near-trap elements like dangerous drops, requiring players to fully utilize the techniques learned earlier. Act 4, the end of Stage 1, features automatic doors which must be strategically used against enemies who also exploit them. The page also details the use of super bombs as screen-clearing weapons, particularly useful when overwhelmed or short on time. Finally, it warns about the kamikaze soldier, a self-destructing enemy appearing late in Act 4, advising players to defeat it quickly, possibly with a super bomb. The content underscores the game's transition from basic training to requiring strategic movement, precise shooting, and smart item usage. This page dives into hard driving on the Mega Drive, bringing the well-known 3D arcade driving simulation home. Tengen's port is highlighted for faithfully capturing the essence of the original, despite the slightly rougher polygon graphics compared to the dedicated arcade hardware. The reviewer is impressed by the game's realistic driving feel, noting details like rear-wheel drift and loss of tire grip, stating it feels almost like driving a real car. Beyond pure simulation, the game features a stunt track with elements like jumps and 360-degree loops, adding an exciting twist. The Mega Drive version includes welcome options, such as changing the driving lane, left or right, and the speed unit display between kilometers per hour and miles per hour. Gameplay modes include qualifying laps to reach the championship, a practice mode where you can even drive in reverse, and a cool instant replay feature that shows your accidents like a recorded film. The depth provided by the manual transmission option, complete with clutch control, is also a key point, with manual cars noted to have more power. It's a game that reveals more depth the more you play it. The Sega Mega Drive version of Hard Drivin' offers two tracks, Speed Track and Stunt Track. The Speed Track is designed for beginners, focusing on controlled cornering. Experienced players can use drifting for faster times. The Stunt Track is more complex, featuring challenging elements like a hidden drop, a bridge jump, a zero visibility loop, and a final jump and banked turn. Players should avoid obstacles such as the cow, and utilize left-side driving for better visibility. Qualifying unlocks the championship lap, a head-to-head race against a computer opponent on the stunt track. Without collisions, the focus is on perfecting your driving line. Beating the computer saves your best time as a ghost, offering a continuous challenge. This page features the iconic shooter Darius 2 on the Sega Mega Drive. The striking cover art shows the powerful Silverhawk spacecraft facing off against a massive, multi-turreted battleship in a fiery red environment. The page includes several screenshots showcasing different aspects of the game. One image displays the extensive Zone Select map, revealing the game's branching paths across various planets like Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, and Jupiter. The text confirms there are a total of 28 zones, structured like the arcade version, and mentions there are 6 different endings to discover, challenging the player to see them all. Other screenshots highlight intense boss battles. One section describes the boss, Biostrong, noting its ability to enlarge and shrink during attacks and its high durability. Another section mentions a confrontation between the Silverhawk and Motherhawk, detailing its attacks like rotating shots and lasers. The bottom text proudly states the game is 8 megabits, a significant size for the time. Taito is credited as the developer, and it's licensed software for the Mega Drive. This page features an interview with Mr. Koga, the developer of Darius 2 on the Sega Mega Drive. The article is accompanied by stunning artwork, including a giant octopus boss and a planet illustration, along with a screenshot showing the red crab boss from the game. Mr. Koga explains that the game required an 8 megabit cartridge to faithfully recreate the arcade version's detailed graphics, extensive sound, and all 28 varied zones. He discusses the differences between the arcade and Mega Drive versions, noting that while simultaneous two-player play wasn't feasible, the home version adds extra features like multiple endings, new boss attack patterns, and various option settings, making it a rich experience. He shares that adapting the arcade's original two-screen layout to a single screen for the Mega Drive, without losing the game's excitement, was the biggest challenge during development. When asked about his favorite zone, he highlights the impressive Z Zone, and mentions others like the biological cave zone, refreshing R zone, and the tough ground-based U zone, emphasizing the unique character of each area. For favorite bosses, he mentions the Red Crab is popular with the staff, though bosses like Yamato, Great Octopus, and Sea King were particularly memorable and challenging to create. Finally, Mr. Koga thanks players for their patience and encourages everyone to buy Darius 2. This page introduces the Sega Mega Drive title Star Cruiser, hailing it as a pioneering SF adventure that heavily features 3D graphics. The article highlights its complete 3D rendering based on computer calculations, offering a fresh experience compared to traditional scroll shooters, especially the intense 360-degree space combat. It notes that while the Super Famicom's graphics capabilities are often discussed, Star Cruisers on Mega Drive was an early innovator in this area. Beyond the visuals, the game's system for advancing the story is praised, including useful features like multiple save slots and a profile function for characters. The article also points out specific graphical highlights that enhance the science fiction atmosphere, such as warp travel effects and detailed views during maneuvers like the gravity catapult, where planets like Jupiter appear beautifully rendered. Screenshots showcase various aspects of the game, including combat in open space, exploration within detailed station interiors, and panoramic views of cityscapes seen from dynamic angles, illustrating the game's revolutionary 3D presentation. This text explores the Sega Mega Drive game Star Cruiser, specifically focusing on the initial mission and navigation systems. The player, as Brian, must infiltrate a fortified enemy base to steal a Star Cruiser, beginning with a simulated kamikaze run. Inside the base, a complex, dungeon-like layout presents a challenge. The article details various navigation tools. The ground radar aids land tank traversal with color-coded terrain and enemy markers. For space travel, auto cruise and warp are available, utilizing a star map. A space radar provides a 3D view, although the fast pace of combat often requires reliance on instinct. The text also stresses the crucial need to manage fuel and missiles. The reviewer highlights the game's depth and appreciates the simulation's complexity. This page continues the story of Star Cruisers, detailing the events after securing the ship. The situation worsens as space hunter Gibson disappears after communications cut out. Brian heads to Earth to investigate, finding the information center unusable, but getting help from Daigo's daughter, Yuko. The plot takes a strange turn as Gibson is found to have entered the computer electronically. Brian follows, battling within the digital world, only to discover Gibson has been converted into human data. After rescuing Gibson's data and restoring him, analysis reveals the enemy Void is planning a terror attack on a hunters meeting on Venus. Screenshots show the information center reception area, the unique computer battle sequence, and data screens. The page also offers strategy tips for Star Cruiser's 3D combat. It highlights the challenge of fighting in a 3D space without cover, emphasizing mobility and prioritizing defense. Tips include maintaining distance, using lock-on missiles for preemptive strikes, especially against groups, understanding when laser attacks are effective, and the crucial technique of intercepting enemy fire, particularly on the ground. It notes that projectile interception is vital but difficult in space, due to attacks coming from all directions. The next page continues the Star Cruiser saga, detailing the unfolding conflict. It covers the events on Venus, where a terror attack occurs, leading to Brian's wrongful arrest, until he provides proof of destroying the enemy Void's secret base. The culprit is identified as Jack, who manages to escape with Allied soldiers and steal the Star Cruiser. The chase continues to Mars, where Brian successfully recovers the ship using information from Diana's brother, Max. However, the enemy's new flagship, the Caddy Sark, requires a power-up to defeat, leading Brian to seek an upgrade at a secret factory on Jupiter's moon Ganymede. The final battle is imminent. The page also highlights the game's extensive cast, featuring over 70 diverse characters from main figures to robots and townspeople. It notes the strong character graphics and the significant depth they add to the adventure, acknowledging that remembering all the key characters can be challenging. To assist players, the game includes a character file command that automatically records profiles of important individuals encountered. Key characters introduced include Freddy the Robot Advisor, Brian's friend Gibson, technician Daigo Sakai and his daughter Yuko, fellow space hunter Masashi, Federal Patrol officers Domovsky, Diana and Dave's subordinate Anna, and the antagonist, Jack. The page also mentions numerous other nameless characters representing various professions, adding to the game's rich world. Data East's upcoming Mega Drive action game, Midnight Resistance, is a port of the arcade original. Players must rescue their family from King Crimson and save Earth. This is Data East's first Mega Drive title and utilizes an 8 MBIT ROM. The game adapts to the Mega Drive controller, with B for shooting, C for jumping, and A accessing the weapon menu. Weapon aiming uses the D-pad. The music is well reproduced, despite some sound omissions. Players collect keys by defeating red enemies, using them in the weapon warehouse to upgrade weapons. Weapon types include full auto, shotgun, three-way, and fire, each with a supercharger power-up. Losing a life resets the player's weapon and key count. The reviewer praises the port's quality and action. This page continues the overview of Data East's Midnight Resistance, detailing the various weapon backpacks, power-ups, and the first two stages of the game. It highlights the three types of backpack weapons available: Nitro, which is the most powerful and explodes overhead; Shower, which fires downwards; and Homing Missile, which tracks enemies. The page also explains the power-ups players can collect. The Supercharger increases weapon power, the Bullet adds 500 rounds of ammunition, and the Barrier provides a temporary spinning shield that attacks nearby foes. The guide then moves into breaking down the early levels. Stage 1, the Capital Expressway, starts with players navigating a ruined highway alongside Stacy in an invincible Jeep, before transitioning to challenging platforming sections where only the standard weapon is available. The boss of this stage is a mobile tank, vulnerable from specific angles. Stage 2 takes players into the Tokyo Tower underground base via a manhole, featuring encounters with standard soldiers and machine gunners, before culminating in a battle against a massive armored vehicle that moves horizontally and fires direct missiles. Successfully destroying it results in a satisfying explosion. The page emphasizes careful progression, especially in areas where weapon options are limited. The next page dives deeper into Midnight Resistance, starting with Stage 3, a drastic change of scenery to a forest. Upon arrival, players are immediately assaulted by flying soldiers and laser turrets. Springboards are introduced, and the homing missile proves particularly effective against the numerous flying foes encountered here. The level culminates in a boss battle against a terrifying giant circular saw mechanism. Stage 4 takes the fight to a bridge under a heavy waterfall and then an underground area. The familiar armored vehicle from earlier stages makes a return appearance, forcing players to move right while dealing with its relentless attack. After navigating the waterfall and climbing a ladder, the level ends with a challenging boss encounter against a squadron of jet fighters attacking from the horizon. The reviewer notes the panic induced by facing multiple jets simultaneously and urges players to destroy as many as possible. Following this, the page teases the difficulty spike from Stage 5 onwards, stating that the remaining 5 stages contain enemies far stronger than anything encountered so far. A screenshot previews the interior of Stage 5, suggesting a base environment. The piece concludes by encouraging players to look forward to the Mega Drive version, suggesting that hardcore fans waiting for it might want to practice on the arcade version in the meantime. This page features a special report titled Kingdom of the Nobles, presented as a New Year's bash. It seems to be a collection of various articles or segments under this theme. One prominent piece is a chaotic report from the Beep editorial department titled Don't Say It, by Seiko, 28, in a hotel room and Akira, 25, in Roppongi late at night. Another section is titled Tama's Heart, featuring a modern interpretation of My Family's Fight. There is also a section on elegant taste, suggesting upgrading from casual style, featuring something called Curse of the War Photographs and Man-Faced Man. A yellow banner mentions seeing Akari Sugimoto, gorgeous. At the bottom left, there are sections on tonight's side dishes and miso soup menu. The page appears to be a quirky, magazine-style feature rather than a game review. This page launches into a dramatic, theatrical episode centered around the Beep Mega Drive editorial department, continuing the Kingdom of the Nobles theme. It depicts the chaotic office environment, where despite complaints about errors and delays, the staff remains cheerful. The tension rises with calls predicting a takeover, culminating in the arrival of the Noble, identified as Ikeda Takahiro, vocalist of the band Remote, previously mentioned. The Noble makes a flamboyant entrance, immediately launching into a guitar performance, loudly singing about the staff's mistakes. This overwhelming display forces the existing editor-in-chief, Kawaguchi, to surrender his position in a tearful handover, all happening within minutes. The Noble then settles into the editor's chair, issuing sharp new rules for the workplace, including banning beer and mandating prompt proofreading. Brief profiles of 3 other editors offer quirky insights into the team. Editor A shares an anecdote about being drunk, Editor B talks about eating, and Editor C mentions his nickname, and that the Noble is nice. The page concludes with a profile of the Noble himself, detailing his band Remote, his charming stage presence, and his peculiar habit of carrying curse photos, echoing a theme from the previous page. It highlights his upcoming tour and recital. This is less about gaming and more a humorous, staged look at the magazine's internal drama. This page continues the unfolding drama at the Beep Mega Drive editorial department, titled Chapter 2, The Editor-in-Chief Does Whatever He Pleases. The narrative describes the Noble editor's actions, including leaving the chaotic office abruptly to perform game analysis, stating, "A true editor must be able to conquer 1 or 2 games." Photos showcase the staff and the Noble in the office setting, including a scene where the Noble is offered an ashtray while smoking, highlighting items like tea, a lighter, and an ashtray as essential tools in this power dynamic. Testimonials from female staff members offer brief insights. Kurumi-chan mentions being surprised by the vocalist of Remote appearing. Nut-chan comments on his preference for sea urchin and good looks, and Lucy-chan recounts a strange incident after drinking. The bottom section, titled The Noble's Small Room, features the editor's commentary directed at Sega. He argues that Mega Drive software is primarily for hardcore fans or advanced players, finding it difficult and criticizing Sega's promotional strategy compared to the Super Famicom boom, despite acknowledging Sega's excellent hardware. He expresses frustration, born from his love for the brand, urging Sega to be more proactive in stimulating consumers. The page also highlights a special bonus, Noble-chan sticker, featuring his image. Chapter 3 depicts the overwhelming fatigue experienced by the Noble editor amidst intense work demands. Returning to a chaotic office piled with paperwork and ringing phones, the editor faces daily struggles, managing appointments, settling expenses, and navigating strained staff relationships. The chapter highlights the toll of the job through scenes of extreme fatigue, pressure related to sales, and client entertainment. The office environment is depicted as messy, reflecting the editor's declining enthusiasm, a situation described as Dragon's Head, Snake's Tail. Despite the title's suggestion of a clean departure, the narrative ends with the editor seemingly abandoning the scene. A side panel advertises the editor's TV program, Tune-Up Boys Club, promising information on MegaDrive software. This page is a special feature celebrating the end of 1990 and looking ahead to 1991 for the Mega Drive. Titled 90 Mega Drive, The Year That Was and the Year to Come, it serves as a final accounting of the Mega Drive scene in 1990. The accompanying illustration features festive imagery with a snowman, Mount Fuji, and greetings for Christmas and the New Year. The page highlights BeepMD's selected major events of 90, listing significant moments and game releases throughout the year. These include key developers entering the platform, such as NCS with their Greatest Warehouseman in History, Denpa Shimbuncha with Afterburner 2, Taito with the New Zealand story, and the Mega Drive version of Final Blow known as Wolf Team, Namco with Phelios, Hot B with Insector X, and Toplan with Fireshark. The timeline also notes the launch of the Game Gear handheld and the Sega Game Library service, alongside mentions of the magazine becoming monthly and the airing of programs like Tune-Up Boys Club and Hiroko Moriguchi's Mega Kids TV. The text reflects on what 1990 meant for the Mega Drive and ponders what 1991 will bring, ending with a wish for a Happy New Year. This page continues the look back at 1990 for the Mega Drive. It notes the console has now been released for 2 years, having launched in October '88, and discusses the growth of the platform, particularly the increase in third-party developer support and software titles. Popular games like Tetris, Afterburner 2, Super Hangin', and Columns are mentioned as contributing to the console's success, which saw it reach over 1 million units sold. The text also touches upon the launch of the Game Gear handheld and the Sega Game Library service, acknowledging both the positives of the year and some areas where the software lineup could still improve. It anticipates the coming year and the impact of the Super Famicom. The top panel features a charming cartoon strip showing personified Mega Drive consoles experiencing the end of the year, humorously reflecting on their performance and the upcoming year. The bottom section provides a humorous retrospective titled BeepMD's Mega Drive Typos Collection for 90, where the magazine highlights its own mistakes from the past year. It points out various errors, such as missing information in game articles or mistyping company names, concluding with a lighthearted apology and a remark about the challenges of the Japanese language. In a look back at 1990 and forward to 1991 for the Mega Drive, game developers shared their insights. ASMEC highlighted Veritex, noting market competition and potential in CD-ROM. Wolf Team recommended Dinoland and critiqued originality in existing games while anticipating CD-ROM improvements and delaying Granada and Yorukishi. Kaneko praised Aeroblasters, observed arcade port popularity, and mentioned the opening of Kaneko USA. Kyugo Boeki featured Super Airwolf and focused on third-party development, recognizing console miniaturization. Finally, Game Arts, highlighting Elysia Dragoon, celebrated the Mega Drive's success, anticipated genre diversity, and expressed excitement for CD-ROM and their partnership with Sierra Online. This page continues the industry outlook, with several more developers sharing their perspectives on the past year and upcoming releases. Kodansha Soken highlights their title Blue Almanac, an RPG/strategy game, and notes the hard work of others. Namco discusses the lack of new breakthroughs but looks forward to focusing on software, mentioning their entry with Phelios and the game WrestleBall. Nihon Telenet reflects on a busy year, touches on hardware and software balance, announces their first Mega Drive entry Gaiares, and features Valis 2i. Human showcases professional wrestling and the upcoming Chachamaru Panic game. Micronet discusses the competitive market, the improving quality of software, and their strategy game ambition of Caesar. Finally, Messiah, NCS, talks about player feedback, potential ports, and highlights their shooter Gainug, Xenogre, noting the challenges in development and unpredictable releases. The developers express mixed feelings about the industry, anticipating new hardware like Mega CD while navigating market pressures. This page continues the industry perspective, featuring more developers and their insights. Unipack recommends a game in the style of Requiem of Fildias and reflects on the success of Sega and Technosoft software, specifically mentioning Strangleflight. They note their recent entry into the market and the potential of Crydrom technology. Sanritsu Electric highlights their upcoming title Fat Man, shown with a screenshot, and looks back at successful releases like Super Monaco GP, Granada, and Mickey Mouse. They express plans to develop more original titles. Sigma Shoji, a 1990 entrant, presents Super Golf for Game Gear as their recommendation, with a coming soon graphic. They acknowledge Sega's strong software sales and the impact of new hardware like the Super Famicom. Sega themselves features Shining in the Darkness, showcasing a screenshot, and praise its quality alongside Sonic the Hedgehog. They discuss the industry shift to 16-bit and list major achievements including the Mega Drive reaching 1 million units sold, the release of Game Gear, and their stock market listing. They aim to strengthen their RPG and strategy game offerings. Taito, a recent entrant, recommends Darius 2 with a screenshot. They comment on the competitive landscape and the rush of new hardware releases, while reserving judgment on the Super Famicom versus Mega Drive software comparison. Technosoft, known for shooters like Thunder Force, recommends Elemental Master, displaying a screenshot. They mention having released 4 titles by year-end, and look forward to the challenge posed by the Super Famicom. This page continues featuring industry perspectives from various companies. Tenjin recommends the Polygon Arcade Classic Hard Drive-In, discussing their move into the Mega Drive market and mentioning titles like Sorcerian, Columns, and Us Tenjin's Clax Tetris version. Denpa Shinbunsha highlights Power Drift and touches on the Mega Drive modem and the Game Gear release. Toei Plan points to Zero Wing, noting the good reception for their shooter, Same, Twin Cobra, Kyukyoku Tiger Arcade, and the upcoming hardware race. Toho features the shooter-heavy unit, expressing their commitment to full-fledged software releases. Treco showcases their shooter, Kyukyoku Tiger, Twin Cobra, observes the increasing popularity of puzzle games, and notes the potential of Crydrom for the Mega Drive. Sunsoft recommends the Mahjong title, Shiju, acknowledging the industry's focus on the Super Famicom, but still anticipating a strong showing from the Mega Drive, particularly mentioning excitement for Fantasy Zone. This page covers various events and releases happening in the gaming world. There's a fantasy and role-playing game fair being held from December 1st to January 15th, featuring tabletop RPGs, figures, card games, and even an art contest. Admission is free. Next, Human is holding a fan appreciation and new title announcement event on December 16th, showcasing their upcoming games, including titles for the Mega Drive. You can expect play sessions and a game tournament, with free entry. Namco is hosting their annual charity Christmas Carnival on December 25th. This event includes a quiz, a music concert, and a Namco game tournament, and attendance is free. There's also news on hardware. Seiko Epson is releasing the PC 386 Note A, a high-performance notebook PC, featuring a 386 SX CPU and IC card drive. It's priced at 268,000 yen. Finally, new books for the massively popular Dragon Quest series are hitting shelves. Dragon Quest IV Panel Theater 3 and Gamebook Dragon Quest IV. Volume 1 and 2 are available, priced at 580 yen and 500 yen each respectively. Published by Enix. This page features reader feedback on the action game Strider. Players share their experiences, highlighting the satisfying gameplay and Strider's fluid movements, along with the stage design and overall feel of the game as a quintessential action title. Many appreciate the reasonable price point for an 8MB cartridge and consider it an essential purchase for Mega Drive owners. However, some reviewers note downsides, such as noticeable pauses during gameplay, less impressive background graphics compared to arcade versions, and a frustrating lack of a continue option. Despite these criticisms, the game's fast-paced action and cinematic ending are generally well received. The page also announces that the theme for the March issue will be Darius 2. This page features the Game Say Whatever You Want reader mail section, where fans share their thoughts on Mega Drive titles. Readers express excitement about the upcoming Shining in the Darkness, praising Sega's renewed effort and requesting specific features like dynamic enemy sounds, immersive dungeon graphics, and character visuals. There's a strong plea for Wizardry to be released on the system to bolster the RPG library. Feedback on Burning Force notes it's a decent port, but criticizes unclear hit detection and the damage system compared to the arcade. Several letters passionately request Populous for the Mega Drive, especially with modem support for versus play, and suggest mouse support for strategy games like the Daisen Ryaku series. One reader questions why the Strider questionnaire didn't ask for opinions on the game itself. Finally, System Soft is urged to bring their simulation and strategy masterpieces, such as Master of Monsters, and titles from the Daisen Ryaku series, to the Mega Drive platform. This page features the Pinto Talk Reader Mail section, where fans ask questions and share thoughts, and the editorial staff provides answers. One reader is concerned that the release of the Super Famicom means Beep, Mega Drive will cease publication, but the editors assure them the magazine will continue. Another asks about a new Super Famicom magazine launched on November 16th, which the editors confirm. A reader recounts getting a Michael Jackson's Moonwalker poster when their broken Mega Drive was repaired. Questions are also raised about the game's Sex Cross, described by the editors as a side-scrolling sci-fi motorcycle game, originally an arcade title, calling it a worthwhile, currently inexpensive, niche masterpiece, noting the Mega Drive version supports 2 players. There's also a letter about a brother's passion for modifying game hardware, like adding rapid fire to a Mega Drive controller and building RGB cables, a trend the editors encourage. The page is also filled with fan art, featuring various characters, including illustrations referencing games like Emerald Dragon, Strider, Monaco GP, and Darius 2. There's a brief section at the bottom listing corrections for previous pages regarding game release dates, prices, and other article details. This page announces exciting changes coming to the reader interaction section of the magazine, dubbed BeepLand. Starting with the February issue, submitting a postcard means you'll be entered into a lottery for prizes if your submission is selected, including software and gift certificates. The magazine is also introducing new reader corners for February. There's a discussion section for talking about the game industry, open to designers, programmers, and fans alike. The Want to Talk About Games corner is for sharing your thoughts and impressions on playing Mega Drive software, asking for concise summaries on postcards, especially about new releases. The general Bin Talk section is for sharing anything interesting happening around you, game-related or not. Lastly, the illustration section specifically requests drawings on postcards using only black ink. Remember to include your name, address, and age with all submissions sent to the Tokyo address listed. The bottom half of the page is dedicated to listing the winners of the November issue's Reader Present campaign. Prizes included popular games like Arrow Flash, Rainbow Islands Extra Version, Burning Force, and Fire Shark, known as Same in Japan, awarded to 5 winners each. Other prizes ranged from posters for Air Inferno, telephone cards featuring Momono Hunter Yoko, Neo Geo merchandise like towels and arrangement tapes, and other unique items like a special pair watch, and an item related to Tokyo Crisis. There's also a photo of someone labeled The Beautiful Nobleman, likely a featured personality in the magazine. This page dives into the world of playing authentic arcade video games at home by acquiring the original game boards and control boxes. The article highlights that despite the advancements in home console technology, arcade versions of games often retain a significant edge in terms of graphics, sound, and overall experience compared to their home ports. Examples are given like the speech missing in the Psycho Soldier port, simplified movement in Valtryk, or lack of original music in Toy Pop, not to mention the unique cabinets for titles like Afterburner and Thunderblade. The solution proposed is to get your hands on the actual arcade game boards and use a dedicated control box to play them on your home TV or monitor. The featured product is the Kix 91 control box, presented as a popular and improved model. It connects to the arcade board and provides arcade-style joysticks and buttons, along with necessary video and audio outputs, including RGB. Different versions offer slightly different features at prices ranging roughly from 29,000 to 38,000 yen, which is positioned as a reasonable investment compared to some high-end home consoles. While new arcade boards can be expensive, older popular titles like Legend of Valkyries tend to become more affordable over time, making this a viable hobby for dedicated fans. The article suggests that playing arcade games at home using original hardware is becoming more common and is a rewarding experience. This mail-order flyer from Hop offers new consoles and games for sale, focusing on popular platforms of the early 90s like Famicom, Game Boy, PC Engine, including CD-ROM, Atari Lynx, and Sega Mega Drive. It lists both original and discounted mail-order prices, making gaming more affordable. The flyer features a variety of games, with notable titles like Herzog Zwei and Phantasy Star II for the Mega Drive. Other platforms showcase games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Famicom, Klax, PC Engine, and YS2I, PC Engine CD-ROM. Instructions for ordering are included, detailing phone orders, payment methods, shipping, and return policies. The flyer provides a glimpse into the video game market of the time, offering a convenient way for Japanese gamers to purchase the latest games. This page is a mail-order advertisement from Santa, focusing on Sega hardware and software. It prominently features the Sega Game Gear handheld console and the Sega Mega Drive, Genesis, listing their prices and shipping costs. There are extensive lists of games available for both systems, including popular titles, along with prices and some release dates. The ad also covers accessories like the Game Gear TV tuner and various Mega Drive peripherals. Notably, there's a bargain corner highlighting discounted Mega Drive software and a Sega game library service allowing rentals. It's a straightforward sales flyer offering Sega products direct to consumers. This page is a mail-order advertisement from Santa, detailing Sega Mega Drive software available for purchase and reservation. It kicks off with a prominent notice about their phone number changing to 033-932-1138 from January 1st. The core of the page lists a wide array of Mega Drive titles, specifying their genres, Santa's special price, and release dates, with many games available for reservation. You'll find exciting action games like Elemental Master and Crackdown, shooters such as Airbuster, Gain Ground, and the iconic Musha, racing games like Hard Drivin' and Super Monaco GP, and even unique titles like Battle Golfer Yui. Whether you are after simulations like Advanced Days in Ryaku, or classic arcade ports like Midnight Resistance and Atomic Robo Kid, Santa seemingly had you covered. The ad also provides Santa's contact information, including their Tokyo address and business hours, alongside a simple form for placing orders. They clearly state that they do not handle the buying or selling of used goods, focusing solely on new products for Sega fans. This page showcases the Kix 9 control box, pitched as the ideal partner for the serious gamer, designed to bring the authentic arcade experience home. This versatile unit allows connecting arcade game boards directly to your TV, featuring a joystick with selectable 2-, 4-, or 8-way movement, coin and start buttons, and crucial rapid-fire controls with adjustable speed. It boasts various output options including RGB and audio jacks, with stereo/mono switching and internal speaker control, ensuring compatibility with different displays and setups. The ad highlights built-in protection features and indicator LEDs. Interface cables are available for connecting to systems like the Genesis, NES, and TurboGrafx 1.6. The Kix 9 comes in different configurations, types A, B, C, offering various video outputs and accessories, with optional panels like a Mahjong controller also available. Ordering information and contact details for KIC Corporation are provided. This page is part of the BeepMD Hot Menu Part 3 feature, delivering information on upcoming Sega Mega Drive titles. The main focus here is Shining in the Darkness, highlighting it as a tactile RPG. The article delves into the game's innovative battle system, particularly its interface. Instead of navigating text menus, Shining in the Darkness utilizes icons that correspond directly to the directional buttons on the controller's D-pad for executing commands like attack, run, magic, and items during combat. The reviewer notes this system is much more intuitive and faster, similar to controls used in action or shooting games, enhancing the feeling of direct control and contributing to the tactile RPG concept. Screenshots are included to demonstrate both the first-person dungeon view and the icon-based battle interface. The page also lists other games covered in this issue, such as Musha Aleste and Gaiares. The next page continues the deep dive into Shining in the Darkness, further extolling its innovative icon-based interface. It highlights how even within menus, like item or magic selection, options are presented as icons rather than lengthy text lists, making navigation quick and intuitive. The reviewer notes, this streamlines what can often be a frustrating part of RPGs. The page then walks through the battle sequence using screenshots. It shows how, upon encountering monsters, you first choose to attack or run via icons. If attacking, you proceed to select your action, attack, magic, item, for each party member, then target the enemy, all managed through the visual icon system. Finally, the page introduces the core three-person party you control: the player character, protagonist, the priest Bilbo, and the mage Merlin. It briefly describes their roles. The protagonist is a warrior focused on physical combat, Bilbo is a healing and attacking priest, and Merlin is skilled in offensive magic. This party structure provides a balanced mix of abilities for dungeon crawling and combat. The focus remains on how the slick interface enhances the overall RPG experience. This page delves further into Shining in the Darkness, focusing on its immersive battle scenes and dungeon encounters. It highlights how the game fully visualizes everything the player sees in the 3D dungeons, creating impactful combat scenarios and surprise encounters. The reviewer notes the game effectively conveys the terror of traps and sudden monster appearances, even presenting monsters initially as shadows during surprise attacks. The magic system is praised for its quality over quantity approach with 4 spell levels, and the process of casting spells is seamlessly integrated using icons directly within the dungeon view, avoiding separate menus. Screenshots demonstrate various combat moments, including monsters falling asleep, casting spells like Slow and Sleep, and dealing damage to enemies like skeletons and evil pasties, showcasing the dynamic visual feedback. The page emphasizes how the game is designed to provide a constant, flowing sensory experience. This page is dedicated to Musha Aleste, known internationally as Musha, Metallic Uniframe Super Hybrid Armor. It's presented as the latest entry in the long-running Aleste series, originating on the Master System. The review highlights this installment's unique premise, where the player controls a robot protagonist, a departure from previous titles. The article delves into the robust power-up system, crucial for survival as the player character starts weak. Acquiring chips, particularly from chip carriers, is essential to enhance weapons like the main normal shot seal cluster beam, which can be powered up through multiple levels. The reviewer notes the game's high difficulty and the significant penalty of losing power-ups upon death. Convenient features like stocking options and adjusting speed via the pause menu are also mentioned. Visually, the game receives significant praise. The reviewer points out the impressive expanding Sega logo sequence, the beautiful opening and prologue scenes, and how the player character's appearance changes with different special weapons equipped. Detailed enemy designs, such as the Yazaki boss from Stage 2, are highlighted, along with subtle touches like shell casings being ejected when firing. Screenshots across the page showcase the title screen, character art, the Sega logo animation, and various dynamic gameplay moments featuring the player ship and enemies. The overall presentation is lauded for its attention to detail, suggesting the developers put considerable effort into the game's aesthetic polish. This page details the core weapon systems of Musha, Metallic Uniframe Super Hybrid Armor. It explains how option drones are acquired by collecting power chips, allowing up to 2 to be equipped and stocked for replacement. These options can switch formations via the A button, enabling attacks in different directions. The reviewer finds formations like roll, 3-way, and back less useful, favoring forward for general use, and particularly praising reverse as the most versatile for its directional attack based on movement, useful for navigating tight areas safely. The special weapon system is also covered, explaining how different weapons are obtained from carriers and can be leveled up by collecting matching items, though losing a life resets the level. Special weapons offer a one-hit protection layer. The 3 main weapons, Blazing Beam, Vanishing Buster, and Defensive Detonator, are described, with the Defensive Detonator's bullet-clearing barrier effect highlighted as essential, despite its initial weakness. This guide details the first stage of Musha, a Sega Mega Drive shooter. The primary objective is to destroy an enemy mobile fortress before launch, ignore early distractions, and focus on gathering power-ups, especially green ones for the laser weapon. Prioritize option drone collection. Mid-stage challenges include turrets and a mid-boss duo, Sawajiro and Jiro, who should be neutralized by targeting their turrets. Watch out for laser attacks. A subsequent armored enemy, Dai Gojuichi, is easily defeated. The stage concludes with a battle against the Gekidoku, Skull, Fortress boss, whose turret attacks are the main threat. Dodge the 5-way bullet spread, and consider using the blue barrier special weapon for defense. The guide also mentions key enemy types like Suzuki, Mine, Hiraduga, Tachibana, Shinano, Furano, and Miyazaki, noting their unique names and often low durability. Defeating the fortress completes the mission, allowing progress to the next stage. This page details the second stage, Round 2, of the Sega Mega Drive shooter Musha. The mission involves infiltrating the remains of the mobile fortress from the first stage and destroying its core's energy source. Inside, the fortress is depicted as a treacherous wooden mechanical mansion with pop-out walls and robot ninjas that emerge from the floor. The walls themselves are hazardous, causing damage upon collision. The guide highlights the armored enemy Sokonofuji, Armored Fuji, which is invincible while its armor is active, and the wall-climbing Mo robots, which are dangerous in groups due to their vertical laser attacks. The mid-boss Arami also poses a threat primarily through the environmental layout, requiring careful positioning. The boss of Round 2 is Hinanui, a large fire cannon mounted on a rail. It launches intense flames that extend down the screen and two-way bullet attacks. The strategy involves avoiding the fire, which cannot be extinguished, and focusing fire on the cannon, with the red special weapon being recommended. Once the cannon is destroyed, the boss becomes stationary and only fires easily dodged bullets, making it a simple finish. The page also features a gallery of other enemies encountered, describing their attack patterns and difficulty, such as the Gatling gun-wielding Hashimotos and various robotic foes. This page continues the guide for Musha, focusing on Round 3. The mission takes Eleanor to North America to destroy a new enemy secret weapon. The stage begins in a grid-like environment where you face waves of enemies before a sudden transition. The floor tiles collapse, leading to a visually striking descent into a deep canyon. This canyon section is the highlight of the first half of the stage. It features narrow passages and requires careful speed control to avoid collisions during the fast scrolling. The guide stresses the importance of memorizing enemy patterns to navigate safely. Notably, this round does not feature a mid-boss encounter. The boss of Round 3 is the overarmed Z. It initially attacks with potent, short-range four-way shots. After taking damage, it transforms, becoming much more aggressive with body attacks and adding three-way shots to its arsenal. The guide suggests using the blue special weapon, the shield, can be helpful against certain enemies leading up to the boss. The section at the bottom highlights the impressive visual effect of the floor collapsing at the start of the canyon, noting it as a notable graphical feat by Compile and Toplan. This page continues the guide for Musha Aleste, focusing on the challenging rounds 4 and 5. Round 4 takes place in the cloudy skies over a future Japan, described as reminiscent of Blade Runner, where thunderstorms cause visual interference. The difficulty ramps up with agile enemies like the laser-firing Yukiwaru series and the ironball-wielding IGI ninja robots. The mid-boss, Yukiwaru MK4, emerges from the clouds firing multiple lasers, and the guide suggests using the reverse option to attack it from behind. A note mentions the game includes an auto-level control feature. Round 5 features the boss, Yukiwaru MK5, Yukio Kubuai, the apparent leader of the Yukiwaru line. Initially, it attacks with a barrage of homing missiles and spread shots. The missiles are destructible but relentless. After taking damage, its armor breaks, and it begins firing thick lasers. The strategy is to avoid its front and shoot when its core is exposed during its laser attack. Screenshots on the page show the chaotic cloud environment of Round 4, the mid-boss Yukiwaru MK4, and the formidable boss Yukiwaru MK5. The guide briefly touches on Rounds 5, low-altitude flight, 6, chasing a massive enemy battleship, the Dataya 51, and 7, leaving these later stages for the player to experience themselves. It suggests that even players who struggle with bolt-heavy games can likely progress using the auto-level control set to easy. Good luck is offered for the final stages. This page features Namco's arcade shooter, Dangerous Seed, making its appearance on the Mega Drive. This version is highlighted for its enhanced graphics and 3-ship combined formation gameplay, significantly powered up from the original arcade cabinet. The magazine notes that the arcade version was notoriously difficult, with few players reaching or defeating the final boss. However, the Mega Drive port is praised for being improved and better balanced, even including exclusive original stages. A major selling point is the extensive range of gameplay modes, catering to everyone from beginners with digest and easy modes that offer different stage progressions and ship combinations, to veterans with normal and hard modes, mirroring the standard arcade structure but varying difficulty. The review also touches on the game's narrative world, mentioning Phantom crew members like Yuko Tyron, Vale Bogard, and Kenny Crawford, whose portraits are included despite them not appearing in the actual game, adding a quirky human element to the otherwise stark setting. The page includes illustrations of a boss enemy and screenshots showing the frantic gameplay. This page delves into the detailed power-up system of Dangerous Seed on the Mega Drive. The system centers around defeating flashing enemies to collect items that upgrade various aspects of your ship. Key upgrades include your primary shot, different forms like laser and wide shot, your movement speed, and the crucial option units, which act as both additional firepower and defensive shields. Collecting items progressively increases the level of your current power-up, shown with screenshots demonstrating the visual changes and effectiveness at levels 1 through 4 for the main weapons, and formation changes for the options. Reaching the maximum level for a power-up and collecting another item awards bonus points. The system emphasizes the risk/reward, as losing a life resets all power-ups, making later stages particularly challenging if you are hit. Other items featured include energy capsules to restore vitality, bombs for large area attacks, and a rare revival item to restore a lost ship. The page highlights the strategic importance of managing power-ups and positioning, especially with the versatile option units whose formations can be adjusted across 4 levels. This page focuses on the intricate formation and attack methods available in Dangerous Seed. Beyond just standard shots and power-ups, a key feature of the game is the ability to combine 2 or 3 ships to form different configurations, significantly enhancing your offensive capabilities. The page highlights how combining ships not only powers up your shots, but also allows you to fire from multiple directions and improves the performance of your bombs. A detailed table illustrates the various formations possible, including the single ship, 2-ship combinations, and 3-ship formations. It shows how these formations impact your normal shot, laser, and wide shot attacks, as well as the type of bomb weapon available, using multiple screenshots to demonstrate the visual effects and coverage of each combination. The text emphasizes that mastering these formations is crucial for tackling the game's challenges effectively. There is also a small note mentioning that attacking certain bosses from behind can be a good strategy. This page delves into the initial stages and formidable bosses found in the normal mode of Dangerous Seed. Starting from Stage 1 through Stage 4, each segment is referred to as a tube, leading players through challenging levels culminating in unique boss encounters. The guide introduces the bosses for these early tubes: the Triple Eye, a 3-eyed spider boss in Stage 1 that is not overly aggressive; the Strike Ant in Stage 2, which fires many bullets but is deemed not particularly strong; the Roller Snail in Stage 3, known for widespread shots and amoeba-like attacks, with a strategy noting that attacking from the front is ineffective and suggesting the beta formation from the previous page for side shots; and the Hunter Moth in Stage 4, described as also easy to defeat, recommending the beta formation with 2 ships. The text also mentions other notable enemies encountered within these stages, such as the frog-like Chandra and Red Scorpio in Stage 2, the Clubhand in Stage 3, and the Hammer Devil in Stage 4. An important pickup mentioned is an option item appearing from Stage 3 that clears enemy bullets, highlighting its utility despite disappearing upon the player's death. The page concludes with a visual list of characters encountered across these first 4 stages, including player ships, bosses, and various enemies. Overall, this section serves as an early guide to the game's structure and key threats, emphasizing specific strategies for each boss. This page dives into the later stages of Dangerous Seed, specifically stages 5 through 8, highlighting the game's unique multi-round branching system. From Stage 5 onwards, a critical mechanic is introduced. You must defeat the boss within a time limit. If you fail, the boss escapes. The consequence of letting a boss escape is significant, as the next stage you proceed to changes depending on whether you succeeded or failed. Furthermore, if a boss escapes, it will return later, potentially combined with the subsequent stage's boss, creating more formidable challenges. This is visually represented by the included flowchart, showing the paths for defeating a boss, yes, or letting it escape, no. The bosses encountered in these stages include the Multi-Squid in Stage 5, where avoiding yellow bullets and using the Beta or Gamma formation is key. In Stage 6 on Jupiter you face the Shark Mouse, which you should attack quickly. However, if the Stage 5 boss escaped, you'll instead fight the combined Monster Head. Stage 7 on Saturn also presents the Monster Head. But if the Stage 6 boss escaped, you face the powerful 3-way combined Ultimate Tiger. The final boss of this segment on Mars, the Ultimate Tiger in Stage 8, is a mandatory fight and requires strategic use of bombs. The page concludes with a visual character list showcasing the enemies and bosses found across these challenging stages. This page continues the deep dive into the challenging stages of Dangerous Seed. It details the branching paths and formidable bosses you'll encounter in the later sections of the game. Depending on your performance in preceding stages, Stage 7 can take you to different planets with different bosses. If you've defeated all previous bosses, you'll face the combined Monster Mouse on Stage 7 Pluto. If some bosses escaped, you might encounter the Twin Crow on Stage 7 Uranus, or the Ultimate Tiger on Stage 7 Neptune if all previous bosses got away. The Ultimate Tiger, a devastating combination of earlier enemies, is noted as particularly tough. Stage 8, the Target Planet, features the Danger Seed boss, highlighted as the final encounter from the arcade version. The guide recommends using the gun formation's rear wide shot for a better chance at defeating it. Beyond the arcade game's conclusion, Stages 9 through 12 are exclusive Mega Drive editions. These original stages are praised for their creative graphics and enemy designs, providing a satisfying experience for players who cleared the arcade portion. The content creators express curiosity about what ultimate boss awaits past the Danger Seed. The page concludes by showcasing illustrations of several key enemies like the Shark Mouse, Twin Launcher, Twin Gunner, and Twin Crow, along with the player's ship, the Mimato, referred to simply as My Ship. Wolf Team's Zanyasha and Bukyoku, a Sengoku-era historical simulation with fantasy elements, is coming to the Mega Drive in early February for 8,500 yen. Building on positive PC reception, the game features warring light and dark factions vying for national unification, incorporating magic and monsters. Players choose between the Yasha Jinne, light, and Maku Jinne, dark, each with unique objectives. 3 scenarios spanning 1560 to 1567 offer varying power dynamics. The Mega Drive port is praised for accessibility and depth, offering 2-player support. Screenshots highlight strategic map views and event scenes like the Fall of Nagoya Castle, showcasing the game's blend of strategy and visual presentation. This page continues the discussion on Wolf Team's upcoming Mega Drive title, Zanyasha and Bukyoku. It highlights the game's familiar hexless, top-down map system, praised for its clarity, ease of use, and strategic depth. The map itself represents Japan, with notable geographical features like Hokkaido depicted. Units and their placement change dynamically depending on the chosen scenario, reflecting the narrative progression. The page then introduces the key figures involved in the game's central conflict: the ancient war between the forces of light, represented by the Yasha Jinne, and the forces of darkness, the Maku Jinne. Pixel portraits and brief descriptions are provided for 6 main characters. On the Yasha, light side, are Saiku, Ashikaga Yoshitaka, a martial artist and sorcerer, and Kujoin Isamu, who blends Christianity and sorcery. On the Maku, dark side, are historical figures twisted by dark forces: Oda Nobunaga, the central antagonist, possessed by a demon god; Toyotomi Hideyoshi, possessed by a red dragon; and Tokugawa Ieyasu, possessed by a snake god. Also featured is Almeida, a missionary aware of the dark forces. These characters, with their unique backgrounds and affiliations, drive the game's strategic and narrative elements. This page delves further into the gameplay mechanics of Zanyasha and Bukyoku, focusing on initial setup and special commands available outside of combat. It begins by explaining the starting options, choosing a scenario, difficulty, and faction. While starting with Scenario 3, Power Expansion offers an advantage to the Yasha, Light faction. Scenario 1, Dark Cloud's Edge, is suggested for a more immersive narrative flow. Factions include Yasha, Maku, Dark, and Neutral. The Maku faction has fewer units but powerful individuals like Nobunaga, while the Yasha have many units but weaker ones overall. Choosing a leader is critical, as it cannot be changed later, and in initial settings, bonus points can be allocated to the leader's stats. The page then introduces special commands usable on the map: Barrier, Sorcery, and Treasure Hunt. The Barrier command creates a defensive field, reducing enemy attack and sorcery power within a radius. Its strength depending on charisma. Sorcery affects units or castles, and can be offensive or defensive, with buffing allies being a recommended strategy. Treasure Hunt is crucial for finding items, including those needed to complete the game. A tip is given to save before searching and reload if no treasure is found. Then go directly to the location where it appeared on a subsequent search. Screenshots show the faction selection, character stats, leader selection, initial stat bonus allocation, and the interfaces for the barrier and sorcery commands, as well as the result of finding an item via Treasure Hunt. This page dives into the core gameplay loop of Zanyasha and Bukyoku, covering troop movement, the start of battle, and the crucial command decisions you'll make. It explains that your army's movement speed depends heavily on the number of soldiers you have and the terrain you're traversing, making careful planning essential. When you encounter an enemy on the map, the battle sequence begins. Before the fighting starts, you first choose your formation from options like the Blue Dragon or White Tiger, each offering different strengths and weaknesses. There's no single best formation, so you need to anticipate the enemy's strategy. Once in battle, you select from commands like attack, sorcery, using treasure, attempting persuasion, or deciding to wait or retreat. The effectiveness of actions like attacking is influenced by your chosen formation and terrain. A significant focus is placed on the battle scene's visuals, with expectations high for Wolf Team's graphical prowess. Each officer boasts multiple unique animations, giving battles a dynamic feel beyond simple number crunching. The backgrounds are also noted for changing with formations and having a stylish ink painting aesthetic, enhancing the atmosphere, and the sorcery effects are highlighted as particularly visually impressive. This page announces the long-awaited release of the game Gears and promises to show everything about it. It immediately addresses the criticism that some games can be boring due to simple presentation, stating that Gears excels in its elaborate visual direction. The article praises the game's huge boss characters that barely fit the screen, the high speed and line-scrolling backgrounds, and dynamic effects that keep the player engaged just by watching. It specifically highlights the warp sequence in Stage 3 as particularly cool, noting it has that characteristic Telenet flair. The page then gives a review of what's been shown so far by detailing the initial stages. Stage 1 is set on a floating continent, serving as an introduction with selectable paths and featuring the tough boss Guardia, which attacks by flapping its wings. Stage 2 takes place in a snowfield area, warning about the troublesome Rift Dragon and detailing the boss Dimarina, whose weak point is its body, making attacks on the tail useless. Stage 3 transitions from subspace into a cosmic shrine, where players must be cautious of black holes that redirect enemy bullets and navigate traps. The boss here is Desgetter, who shoots a sickle-like beam. Its weak point is the head, and it moves very quickly. A small preview shot at the top shows the opening sequence for Stage 8, noted for its effective visuals. But Stage 3 is deemed even cooler. This page continues the deep dive into Gaiares, focusing on Stage 4 and its demanding challenges. Stage 4 begins in a battlefield graveyard filled with debris, some of which are destructible and some aren't, adding complexity as certain enemies even mimic the scrap. Combat starts intensely here, and while tricky, it's manageable if your power-ups are solid. Rapid-fire weapons like the Page Cannon and 10 Missile are recommended over laser types for this section. Moving into the colony interior, the game offers a choice between two paths, with the upper route generally considered easier. The colony features both vertical and then horizontal scrolling sections. Beware of snake-like enemies that fire homing rings and robot foes that swarm you near the path junction. It's crucial to be well powered up before this convergence. Interestingly, the background buildings here have no collision detection, so don't worry about hitting them. The lower path is noted as being tougher, featuring more challenging enemy formations. The boss for Stage 4 is Gazardic. Before facing the boss itself, you'll encounter Zarium in a narrow passage, which is indestructible, and fires 5-way shots that must be skillfully dodged. Gazardic appears after the screen scrolls, attacking by rotating rapidly while firing bullets, then stopping to unleash massive, hard-to-avoid rings. The key strategy is to unleash everything you have quickly to defeat it, before it gets a chance to fire those devastating large rings. The reviewer emphasizes the difficulty of avoiding the large rings, urging a swift takedown. This page details Stage 5 of Gaiares. The level starts with a back-and-forth scroll between an ice planet and a fire planet. Ice shards fall from above, and fireballs rise from below. Be cautious, as the fireballs split into 3 directions. This section also features a mid-boss, the Zorgian, which attacks with homing missiles and a laser, posing a significant threat. The second half of the stage narrows into a passage between the 2 planets. Here, the mixed ice and fire attacks continue, and another Zorgian appears. This version doesn't use homing missiles like the first, offering a slight reprieve. The reviewer notes that while this stage seems relatively easy overall, complacency can lead to defeat. The main boss for Stage 5 is the massive, screen-filling dragon-like entity, Zoradine. This colossal boss fires 4-way missiles from its fingers and a laser from its wings. After taking damage, one of its arms is destroyed, and it becomes even more dangerous, unleashing a wide-range wave beam from the stump that is difficult to dodge. The key strategy is to focus fire on its head and neck to defeat it quickly before it can fully utilize this devastating attack. This page continues the guide for Guerreros, focusing on the late stages of the game.
Stage 6 takes you deep into the enemy fortress, the weapon hangar. Prepare to face a parade of mid-bosses you've seen before, like the tricky Rafidri from Stage 2, the Vol'jin from Stage 3, and the Stage 5 Zorgian. Knowing their patterns helps, but their lasers and attacks still make this a tough gauntlet. The boss for Stage 6 is the formidable Valsaber. This robotic warrior uses her shield to deflect most damage, unleashing a wide beam and tri-directional shots from her sword. Your only chance to deal damage is when she briefly lowers her shield after a sword attack. She's a tough opponent, requiring patience and precise timing. Stage 7 is the ultimate test, a boss rush featuring returning bosses from earlier stages. Get ready to revisit battles against foes like Cardia, Dimarina, and Gizeric, plus others. Their attack patterns haven't changed, so rely on your memory of past strategies. The real challenge here is that you can't power up your weapons, and dying even once makes this stage incredibly difficult. The final boss, Guats, is the enemy's central control system. It hits you with Vulcans, a central laser, and fast-moving tentacles that spew bullets. You've got to weave through the tentacle attacks and focus your fire directly on the core to finally shut it down. This page features a preview of the Mega Drive port of the arcade game, Heavy Unit. This follow-up report delves into the game's story and provides details on stages 2 and 3. A major highlight is the surprisingly large size of the player's transforming mech, the Heavy Unit, which is particularly impressive in its robot form. While the difficulty is mentioned as potentially higher than the arcade version, it's still considered approachable. You'll face off against equally massive enemy characters frequently, creating exciting, large-scale battles. The page also compares the two forms, noting the robot form's higher firepower versus its larger target area, while the fighter form offers different advantages. The story centers on saving the colony planet Rudolph from strange, bioengineered creatures, with the player controlling a mysterious heavy unit. Additionally, the game includes fun option features, like recording and playing back your gameplay, and even changing the screen's color palette. This page continues the dive into Heavy Unit for the Mega Drive, focusing on stages 2 and 3. Stage 2, the Primitive Zone, is described as an unsettling area filled with both organic and mechanical enemies. The first half features strange creatures and living rocks, while the latter half introduces robotic foes and airborne mechs that appear suddenly and move fast, requiring careful observation. A key point is the abundance of items in this stage, especially early on, making it crucial for powering up before facing the later, tougher challenges. The boss of Stage 2 is a terrifying chimera-like creature, a synthesis of various animal parts, which attacks with beams, body slams, and bombs from above. Learning to dodge these three attacks is key to victory. Moving on to Stage 3, the Underground Development Plant. It's characterized by its constricted space, with mechanical floors and ceilings that obscure visibility. The first half features insect-like enemies that sneak into blind spots, and the best approach is to stay forward and defeat them quickly before they scatter. The latter half introduces a giant, snake-like monster. This creature is indestructible, forcing the player to focus solely on evasion while dodging arrows fired from gigantic statues below. You'll need to repeatedly challenge this section to memorize the snake's movement patterns. The reviewer notes that having sufficient power-ups is essential for tackling this stage's difficulty. This page dives into Round B of Super Airwolf for the Mega Drive, published by Kyugo and scheduled for release in February for 6,800 yen. This is the third feature on the game and focuses on Round B, set along the coast of Cuba. The enemies attack fiercely from land, sea, and air, including small ships, tanks, propeller planes, and fast jet fighters. The reviewer notes that the small ships have simple movement but various attack directions, and tanks attack from piers. Some enemies resemble spaceships, creating a challenging battlefield. A key strategy for Round B is to pay close attention to the battleship on the left and always pick up power-ups. The page details specific strategies for the level. To get power-ups, you must defeat a formation of 3 large jet fighters. One of them carries an item, and it's recommended to attack from a distance. For ground sections, focusing on destroying stationary gun emplacements is advised over helicopters, as they are more critical targets and cannot be destroyed by just the machine gun. The boss of Round B is a large jet with a specific attack pattern. It fires a green disc, retreats, uses a spread shot,
and then a wing attack. Attacking directly behind the boss is the recommended strategy.
The page also features an image of Hawk and Dominic, noting they appear during weapon selection.
Airwolf's round sick intensifies in Panama. The turret power boosts, alongside increased jet fighter and concrete turret presence. Missile planes that deploy destructible missile walls add to the challenge. The boss is a powerful reconnaissance plane with radar discs and spread shots, using a looping attack pattern. Round D shifts to Guatemala, featuring a jungle and river setting. The number of turrets doubles, and combined air/ground attacks become more frequent. Item pickup timing is emphasized. Ignore the distracting statue enemy. A new underwater missile weapon is introduced, and the round's boss employs lasers and bombs, suggesting the laser weapon's usefulness. The reviewer highlights Round D's increased difficulty due to the turret and attack frequency. This page details the Mega Drive SHMUP Aeroblasters from Knuckle. It covers the game's initial release information and provides a deep dive into Phase 1, titled Seaside Front. While described as a warm-up stage, the enemies encountered here are noted as being quite tough. A key highlight of this stage is the spectacular destruction of the city below by lasers raining down from above, which signals the arrival of the main boss. The page offers one-point advice for tackling Phase 1's challenges. It identifies two significant robot enemies: the Gatling machine, equipped with lasers that leave openings to exploit, and the Colt Garba, which doesn't attack directly but deploys smaller, transforming robots called Zag commands that must be destroyed quickly. The main boss is revealed to be Evil Face, which initially barrages the screen with projectiles and fodder enemies before descending for a beam and missile attack phase, though dodging these is apparently not overly difficult. The page also includes segments of a high-speed scroll map of the stage layout.
Phase 2 of Aeroblasters, the Mechanized Cave, features 4 blocks. Block 1 has multiple spacers and Gatling tanks. Block 3 has numerous lyrical packs, fixed turrets. The 4th block includes a high-speed scroll section. Enemy difficulty is moderate, with Bradlers firing lasers. High-speed scrolls are the main challenge due to narrow passages, requiring the bumper item. Destroying item tanks releases 5 item types. The Blaster Flash special attack clears the screen. The Phase 2 boss is the Shelf Frame, which has a barrier then fires many missiles. The high-speed scroll sections are extremely difficult, with the top route recommended if there's a split. This page provides an in-depth look at Bahamut Senki, a simulation game from Sega planned for a January 1991 release. It sets the scene on the continent of Bahamut, where good and evil forces clash during a dark age brought on by an evil power, turning the peaceful land into a battlefield for 8 distinct masters. The game is described as a fantasy version of Romance of the Three Kingdoms, where the player chooses one of the 8 masters, a mix of good and evil characters, with the ultimate goal being to conquer the continent by defeating all the others. The game features 4 unique scenarios set on the same map, offering varied starting positions, character appearances, and difficulty levels, promising significant replayability. The scenarios are titled Bloodstained Bahamut, Order of Twilight and Chaos of Dawn, Requiem of the Dark Age, and the Battle of the Holy Warrior and the Mad Warrior. The page also introduces the 8 masters vying for control: Siegforia the Holy Warrior Prince, Bastral Banedout the Berserker Emperor, Shielfa Freya the Great Sorcerer Girl, L=Moa the Elf Archer, Gyrum Grindum the Giant Warrior, Belflame the Great Red Dragon, Crimpt the Great Demon King, and Lord Balmer the Undead Lord. Their diverse races and motivations, ranging from restoring kingdoms to seeking revenge or pure destruction, promise a variety of playstyles and narratives, depending on the player's choice. The game focuses on strategic simulation, where the player's chosen master's alignment impacts the narrative and path to victory. This page dives deeper into the systems of Bahamut Senki, detailing the gameplay experience. Players first select from 3 difficulty levels: Basic, Normal, or Advanced. Higher difficulty gives players more actions per turn, and the article suggests Advanced is the most enjoyable once familiar with the game. The master chosen also impacts difficulty. A turn proceeds through several phases: Update, HP/MP recovery, Random events. Event, master-specific events. Policy, strategy events like Sabotage. Policy, executing policy commands. Collection,
collecting resources, and operation, moving units, attacking, and other actions. Completing these phases ends the player's turn and transitions to the enemy. Combat is a significant part of the game, offering 3 distinct modes that can be switched between: Hex Battle, Simple Battle, and Real-Time Battle. Hex Battle is the traditional simulation style, with movement and attacks on a hex grid, considering terrain and unit placement. Simple Battle feels more like an RPG, with units displayed in lines and commands selected from a list without grid movement. Real-Time Battle puts you in direct control of your master, a unique action-oriented mode where strategic skill can overcome numerical disadvantages, resembling some arcade or PC games. The article also notes strong post-launch support with interchangeable systems and praises the sound and scenarios. 4 save slots and multiplayer support for up to 4 people are also highlighted. This page discusses the Sega Game Library Service and reviews 2 related text adventures. The Sega Game Library Service has launched, slightly delayed but off to a good start. Currently, 5 titles are available, with plans to add 2 new games per month. Full access requires becoming a member by submitting an application form included with the modem purchase and paying a half-year fee of 4,800 yen. Non-members can still access content like the Pyramid Magic preview. The page also reviews the Phantasy Star 2 text adventures. The first is Shilka's Adventure, available from November 21st. This game follows Shilka, a wealthy girl from Motavia's capital Paseo, who turns to thievery, targeting a valuable painting. It's a text adventure featuring graphics at key moments, simple controls for movement, battle, and using items, as shown in the screenshots. The reviewer praises the game's messages, BGM, and sound effects, highlighting its focus on story immersion. Armia's Adventure, previously introduced and available from November, is also mentioned as being recommended for Phantasy Star II fans, following Armia on a mission to capture a wanted person. This page covers more titles available through the Sega Game Library Service, starting with Labyrinth of Death, a simple RPG where you delve into a randomly generated 30-floor dungeon searching for the Holy Grail. The game features auto-mapping and a variety of enemies, weapons, armor, and magic items, offering a satisfying gameplay loop despite not displaying experience points directly. It's not overly difficult, making it approachable even without mid-game saves, and includes a basic command system for actions. Dying at a low level results in a game over, but reaching level 3 allows for revival by a monk. Next up is Putter Golf, a golf game with 18 varied courses featuring challenging obstacles like lava, quicksand, and movable gates. The game boasts realistic ball physics and challenging course designs that make for an engaging experience, feeling polished enough for a cartridge release. There's also a preview for Pyramid Magic, offered free to guest members. This appears to be a puzzle game, where you use a cursor to manipulate blocks, removing or placing them according to symbols. It serves as a good introduction to the service. Finally, the page announces the exciting return of Sega's classic arcade title, Flicky, coming in January. The reviewer expresses delight and hopes for other arcade ports like Tranquilizer Gun, Samurai, and Head On, suggesting such releases would significantly boost member numbers. Ludgar's Adventure and other character-specific adventures are also confirmed for release in January, expanding the library's RPG offerings. This page highlights Tokyo Roof, an urban amusement park event, and its prominent feature, Sega World. Located under a large roof structure, this temporary attraction emerged in a major urban redevelopment area, drawing significant crowds eager to experience its unique high-tech offerings. Sega World at Tokyo Roof provides a mix of arcade experiences and themed attractions. Visitors can try Space Dive, simulating skydiving, browse Hollywood movie props, and explore various themed areas like Tokyo Circuit for racing thrills, Deckard Street, inspired by Blade Runner, and areas based on Chaos and Solaris. A major draw showcased on the page is the R360 simulator, making its public debut here. This impressive machine offers intense, reality-bending experiences with full 360-degree motion, featuring different scenarios via its image menu. The page includes a screenshot showing the R360 in action. Another image gives a glimpse inside the arcade area, described as having a sophisticated atmosphere. The overall space under the roof is noted for its intriguing design, blending nostalgia with a sense of science fiction anticipation. This page introduces the staff and attractions at Sega World, located at Tokyo Roof. It begins by showcasing the AM Center Gals, the cheerful female staff who help make the experience enjoyable. Next, the page features Shinseki-san, the Sega World Store Manager, who discusses the daily flow of visitors, noting the significant increase on holidays. He explains the unique aspects of managing an event space compared to a regular arcade, adapting to different customer types, and mentions popular games like Super Circuit and the R360. He also notes that feedback from current events is used to plan future ones in other cities. On the right, Kiyokawa-san from Sega Flash talks about leading the event staff, emphasizing the importance of training them to become confident and engaging companions who liven up the atmosphere. The bottom section delves into the games, highlighting high-end simulators like the R360, offering unique, high-level simulation experiences. It describes the layout, featuring the two-player bike game GP Rider and other sensory games prominently, alongside TV games, metal games, and carnival games. Sega World houses 95 Sega machines plus games from other companies. It notes that the Sega Super Circuit, SSC, is a major destination for many visitors, with more details promised on the next page. The Sega Super Circuit, SSC, at Tokyo Roof, offers a high-tech racing experience. Players control RC cars with cameras, seeing the video feed on a giant screen, simulating racing. The course, inspired by Outrun, involves timed laps, with prizes for fast times. The challenge is breaking the 2-minute course record, recently made more difficult. Strategy tips from Reformed Human Inno advise on braking, cornering, using stronger batteries earlier in the day, and avoiding crashes. Images show the setup: a 5-car starting grid, the player's cockpit view, and the screen's immersive 300 km/h sensation. A live commentator enhances the experience. A large tournament is planned, encouraging practice, showcasing Sega's immersive approach. This page focuses on the Sega Game Gear, leading with a feature on the upcoming RPG, Dragon Crystal. The article highlights this eagerly awaited title for the Game Gear, describing it as a dungeon crawler, where the player is trapped in a crystal world across 30 floors, seeking the Holy Grail to escape. The core gameplay involves navigating maze-like environments, battling monsters, and finding warp zones to advance. A significant point the review makes is the game's resemblance to the classic PC RPG Rogue, particularly in its use of randomly generated maps and the unknown effects of items until they are used. This design choice is praised for bringing a fresh sense of tension and replayability. The reviewer notes that success in Dragon Crystal hinges less on character growth and more on strategic item use and timing, suggesting it leans towards simulation rather than pure action. The effort to bring such a game to the Game Gear is commended. The page showcases the variety within the Crystal world by displaying screenshots of 4 distinct environments: forest, moai, flower garden, and desert. It further details the random nature of the map generation and the mystery surrounding items, reinforcing the roguelike mechanics that make every playthrough unique and challenging. This page shifts focus to other notable Game Gear titles, diving deeper into the gameplay elements of Dragon Crystal, the roguelike dungeon crawler highlighted on the previous page. Combat is straightforward, relying on simple actions like sword attacks, throwing items, or using magic staffs. Enemies are varied, with some possessing tricky special attacks like poisoning or even reducing your level, emphasizing that sometimes the best strategy is to retreat. A unique companion feature is the hatching dragon, which starts as an egg but grows alongside the player as they gain levels. The game includes a continue system tied to collecting coins found in the dungeon, a crucial feature given the lack of a save function. Separately, the page celebrates the classic Sega action platformer, Wonder Boy. Likened to Nintendo's Super Mario, the Game Gear version is based on the original arcade game. The story sees the protagonist, Tom Tom, embark on a quest to rescue his girlfriend. The review highlights the game's engaging side-scrolling action, featuring classic elements like collecting power-ups such as throwable axes and the ever-useful skateboard. The stages offer diverse environments, from forests to caves and even clouds. The charm of the character designs and the smooth animation are praised, making it a highly recommended action game on the Game Gear. This page features Headbuster, a real fighting simulation strategy game by NCS/Messiah. It utilizes a semi-real-time command system, allowing for a fast-paced gameplay flow through a unique 4-phase turn structure: planning action, planning attack, and executing attack. The game boasts 10 distinct maps and a variety of rivals, each with different AI patterns, like aggressive base rushers or cautious defenders. A key element is the ability to create and customize your own robot units by combining different parts, including weapons, computers, and sensors, allowing for deep strategic planning. You can decide whether to field a large quantity of mass-produced units or a small force of heavily equipped elite robots. The game also offers a 2-player versus mode and a password system for continuing single-player games. While not overly difficult, the customization and strategic options make it quite addictive. Screenshots show the turn phases on a map and combat view, as well as character portraits of rivals and the robot customization screens. There are also screens depicting victory and defeat, adding character-driven moments to the simulation.
3 upcoming Game Gear titles are highlighted. First, Woody Pop, a charming block breaker where players choose their path, featuring power-ups, cute enemies, and colorful levels. Second, Devilish, a strategic block breaker focusing on guiding a ball to a goal using various paddles, with 2-player modes and dynamic stages. Lastly, Junction, a puzzle game where players manipulate blocks to guide a ball through checkpoints, including a new pyramid block for jumping, with 50 action-packed stages. The page also features a release schedule for other Game Gear titles.
This page features the 9th volume of the Mega Drive Cheat League, a reader-submitted tips section. First up is a cheat for Granada, explaining how to power up your blaster in Stage 2 by carefully navigating to the end of a specific structure and waiting. An item appears that increases your blaster's power, though it also boosts recoil. Screenshots show the location and the item itself.
Next is a valuable tip for Rainbow Islands,
Extra version. By inputting specific commands on the title screen before starting, players can begin the game with permanent power-ups like speed-enhancing shoes, a red pod, and a yellow pod. These items won't be lost, even if you lose a life, giving a significant advantage.
Different button combinations provide different sets of these initial items. Screenshots show the title screen and gameplay with the effects active. The page also serves as a call for more cheat submissions, detailing the ranking system for submitted tricks and the prizes awarded, including gift certificates, and even selecting the best submissions annually for additional software prizes. It concludes with instructions on how to submit your own Mega Drive/Genesis cheats via postcard. This page dives into the VG Club, highlighting several notable games. The main feature is Namco's Dragon Saber, the exciting sequel to Dragon Spirit. It boasts impressive visuals and sound design that really pull you into its fantasy world. You take on the role of Huey or Hyoria, who can transform into powerful dragons to fight biomonsters. The game offers a 2-player co-op mode where players control blue and red dragons. Working together with combination attacks makes clearing stages much smoother. You can also charge up a powerful shot by holding the attack button, which is great for piercing through groups of enemies. Item collection is key, providing standard power-ups like increased firepower, extra lives, and bonus points. More interestingly, there are change items that transform your dragon's attack style. These include firing dual shots, powerful fireballs, wide-ersing axes, a penetrating spark beam, or deploying a barrier for defense. The game features 9 stages, each with a unique structure and events. Beyond Dragon Saber, the page also lists other titles covered in this section, including Data East's Edward Randy, The Cactus Kid, Sega's Bonanza Bros, Stonk's Alpha Mission 2, Ragai, Stonk's Cyberlip, and Namco's Sokoban Deluxe. It seems like this section is a roundup of interesting games the editors wanted to showcase. This page continues the look at the VG Club, primarily focusing on a stage-by-stage breakdown of Dragon Saber. It provides a visual guide through the initial levels, pointing out key enemies and hazards. Stage 1 is detailed, showing the water city and floating islands that serve as enemy strongholds. You'll face both airborne and ground units here, culminating in a tough fight against the boss, Akira. Moving on, Stage 2 takes you inside a volcano. Watch out for the flowing lava and rocky obstacles that can damage you. You'll encounter strange rolling enemies and those with spiky shells, before facing the boss, Hippocampus. Stage 3 is set within the eerie structure of a monster fossil.
This stage features a background that slides horizontally. You'll need to stay centered to avoid taking damage from the environment. The boss waiting here is the powerful Alien King. Finally, Stage 4 presents a beautiful yet dangerous environment, with bridges and peculiar red flowers. Be wary of caterpillar-like enemies on the bridges, and avoid the flowers which seem to draw you in. The boss is a menacing skull-like creature that requires precise hits to defeat, Below the Dragon Saber section is information on Sokoban Deluxe. This classic puzzle game is presented here as a deluxe version, incorporating a time limit for an added challenge. The developers suggest it's more fun to play with friends, offering many levels and varying difficulty. It sounds like a great party game. This page covers two distinct Sega Mega Drive titles. First up is The Cliffhanger. Edward Randy. Hailed as a thrilling action game packed with innovative ideas and dramatic presentation. The review highlights the game's variety across its 7 stages, showcasing screenshots of intense action sequences, including fights on water boats, moving trains, cars, and even mid-air aerial combat against planes and bosses. It emphasizes the dynamic gameplay, where the protagonist uses a whip to swing and attack enemies in diverse environments. Below that is Borench, a unique puzzle action game from Sega. It deviates from typical puzzle games by having players guide a rolling ball to a goal by strategically selecting and placing different block types. The game features 99 stages and multiple starting modes, making it accessible for practice but also challenging. The ball's properties change, heating up and speeding up, adding urgency, but items are available to cool it down. The reviewer notes the potential for frustration, but also mentions a fun 2-player mode, where one person acts as a navigator, calling out block selections. This page features a look at 2 titles released on the Neo Geo platform. First up is Rag-I, an action-adventure game where players embark on a quest to cleanse the corrupted planet Rag-I from the clutches of the Dharma tribe. The review points out the mix of action and adventure elements, including an item shop offering beneficial power-ups and a branching level structure where you must choose your path after the initial stage. Screenshots showcase the vibrant world and character sprites. Following that is Cyberlip, a science fiction action game featuring 2 heroes, Rick and Brooke, tasked with destroying a rogue supercomputer within a military fortress. The page highlights the game's complex level design, with 7 stages connected by elevators and featuring intricate maze-like sections. A key praised element is the stereo sound, which creates a dynamic audio experience that follows the character's movement on screen, adding to the immersion. There is also a note about a Neo Geo consultation service available via telephone. This page announces the annual Christmas gift giveaway from BeepMD magazine. It's a chance for readers to win a variety of gaming prizes and related goods. The main focus is on Sega Mega Drive titles, with popular games like the challenging shooter Elemental Master, the classic side-scrolling Darius 2, the intense vertical shooter Dangerous Seed, the ninja action of Shadow Dancer, and the enchanting platformer Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse, among others, being offered to 5 lucky winners each. Also featured are overseas Master System releases, presenting an opportunity to acquire import versions of games such as the 3D rail shooter Galaxy Force, the racing game Battle Outrun, the unique action game Dynamite Ducks, and the legendary RPG Phantasy Star, each available to 3 winners. Beyond games, the giveaway includes a diverse selection of goods, card games like Galmaster I, and one based on the popular anime, Aim for the Top, a soundtrack CD for the game Granada, original Namco merchandise, a new third-party blaster controller, and an exclusive poster of the Sega Sound Team, SST Band, are also part of the prize pool, with varying numbers of winners for each. Full details on how to enter are included for interested readers. The article, illustrated with a cowboy holding a start gun against a desert and snowy mountain backdrop, discusses the Super Famicom's launch and its comparison to the established Mega Drive. It questions the Super Famicom's unique qualities, particularly its arcade ports, suggesting the initial hype may be fleeting. The Mega Drive, having already faced similar challenges, is positioned to inform its future development. The article also announces the February issue's release date and staff information. A reader survey is included, gathering feedback on demographics, console ownership, purchase decisions, and game opinions. The survey specifically asks about purchased games like Castle of Illusion, Shadow Dancer, and Star Cruiser, desired upcoming Mega Drive titles, and requests for port recommendations, culminating in a poll for the best and worst Mega Drive software. This page is dedicated to a stunning visual showcase for a new game from Technosoft, a developer renowned for their work in the shoot-'em-up genre on the Mega Drive. The prominent artwork features a powerful, imposing character, likely a boss, set against a dynamic, cosmic backdrop of reds and blues, encircled by glowing energy. The large vertical text boldly declares, "Here, a new legend begins," fitting for a highly anticipated title.
based on the distinctive art style, the developer logo, and the gameplay screenshots displaying intense SHMUP action with detailed environments and enemy sprites. This is clearly an announcement or feature on Thunder Force IV. The screenshots illustrate the fast-paced vertical and horizontal scrolling stages players would navigate. The inclusion of a stage select preview indicates the variety of levels awaiting players. This page serves as an exciting teaser for Technosoft's next epic installment in the Thunder Force series, promising a grand new adventure. This page shifts focus to another gem from Technosoft, the fantasy action shooter known internationally as Elemental Master. Positioned as the developer's exciting fourth release, following the massive success of Thunder Force 2i, the game launched on December 14th at a price of 6,800 yen. The vibrant artwork showcases the game's magical theme, featuring a powerful sorcerer engaging in elemental combat against fantastical creatures. Elemental Master stands out in Technosoft's portfolio with its unique top-down perspective and emphasis on mastering different elemental spells to navigate diverse stages and overcome challenging boss encounters. The page also briefly touches upon a promotional contest celebrating the release and introduces the Technosoft Gals Club with Maiko and Satomi. This page showcases several upcoming Sega titles across different platforms. The main feature is Dragon Crystal, described as a high-power RPG, where the magic school student Oshi suddenly finds himself inside a crystal ball. Players use various magic items found to embark on an adventure, scheduled for a December 22nd release at 3,500 yen. Screenshots provide a glimpse of the top-down dungeon exploration gameplay. Also featured is Glock, an exciting 3D dogfight shooting game where you pilot the latest jets, releasing on December 15th for 3,500 yen. Additionally, the page highlights the exhilarating action of Wonder Boy, which is finally arriving, depicting a quest to save the beautiful girl Tina by defeating monsters. Based on the screenshot, this appears to be a port of the Master System/Game Gear version and is set to release on December 8th for 3,500 yen. The page also prominently announces the launch of the Game Gear, Sega's Color LCD portable game machine, priced at 19,800 yen, emphasizing its vibrant display as a key feature. This issue of Beep Mega Drive is dated January 1st, 1991, and sold for 480 yen.